Champions, welcome back to the final set of the day of the first day of group stage play for Group A at the, well, it's the Paladins Invitational at the Hi-Rez Expo 2017. I'm sorry, I laugh at my own jokes. I'm back again, Hi-Rez Vox on the mic, joined by Hi-Rez Pretty Hair, who took us through the previous set of District 69 versus Black Dragons, but now, well, we've come to what we've all been waiting for. It's the international showdown between Matchpoint and District 69. But before we get to that, for those of you watching from home, we've got a very special promo, which we're currently running for you.
Yep, that's right. Twitch Prime is our title sponsor. We've got Twitch linking set up at hirezstudios.com/link. This will give you rewards just for sitting in chat. We just want to say thank you. This will be the last time we remind you to do this today, and that's why it's so important to get it done, because this is a 4-day event. You want to get in as early as possible.
It certainly is, and we know we've had a lot of viewers on twitch.tv/Paladins game, but if you're after something a little bit more meaty, which you can guarantee yourself in-game, don't forget to check out the Hi-Rez Expo digital loot pack available in-game now. It contains a lot of great swag for you, which is themed around this event. We've got 3 different sprays which have recently been introduced to the game, which are Hi-Rez Expo themed. We've got a couple of MVP poses for Victor and Fernando, and we have 3 great skins. And why don't you give me a rundown through those real quick, please?
Yeah, the big thing here is that they are themed for the event. HRX rocking that Paladins Tahiti blue, looking so fly. Victor, all the teal, the big shield. We saw it in the last series, actually. One of the Black Dragons guy was running Invitational Fernando. Ooh, it was so hot. We were joking because he was out of position, but he looked so good doing it.
Absolutely. No, that's exactly what you want to see, repping the event that you're playing at. That pride that we've come so far with Paladins Esports is so fantastic. But as we do close to the end of this day, let's take a look at what matches we've seen so far on the first day of group stage play here at Hi-Rez Expo.
That's right. We'll be able to take you through that. Matchpoint was so strong in their set, and I think that's kind of the big key point here for me heading into this set, because District 69 frankly wasn't as clean as I anticipated going up against Black Dragons.
Oh, I caught a couple of their games, and Black Dragons got themselves on the board for the first time in that final game, which is fantastic to see, starting to get a hold of District 69, starting to take them apart, and this opens up a few different possibilities. Obviously, District 69, they're playing with a substitute, but still, maybe there are cracks in the armor.
That's right, and you can see the standings over on the left side, and this is the first half of the group play that led us here. D69 sweeps all through the first half over QG. Black Dragons went down 0-3 against QG. Matchpoint looking clean against Black Dragons here. So thus far, Matchpoint and District 69 have secured their spots in the semifinals out of the group play, but the seeding is all but to be determined.
Certainly is. On the other side of things, for the remaining matches of group play, Matchpoint took a 3-0 victory over Team QG. District 69 with a 3-0 over Black Dragons, who notably did give them some trouble, as we just discussed. And this is what it all comes down to. Thursday, match number 6. Matchpoint, the #1 seed out of North America, versus District 69, your previous DreamHack Founders Tournament LAN champions.
A lot of pride on the line here for these two teams. American flags draped out on all of Matchpoint's PCs as we head into the map draft stage of our final series of the day.
Timbermill is taken off the table first by Matchpoint. Of course, there are a total of 7 maps available to us in Paladins, so we're having each team take one out of that available pool before we go through the picking. District 69 take away Serpent Beach, which is a little surprising because that's been a priority pick for them throughout most of their games today, but maybe they're trying to go for something that Matchpoint don't feel very comfortable on here.
Maybe they just wanted you to think that. Now it's time for them to ban it. Frog Isle, however, going to be the selection for game number 1 here. Notable plays on this map was Dosup's Bomb King in the set.
That certainly was the case. That Poppy Bomb air control which Dosups was able to display was absolutely phenomenal, disengaging from their opponents up into the air and then dropping straight back down again to keep on throwing sticky bombs onto the targets after throwing grumpy bombs. Fantastic stuff coming through from that carry player for Matchpoint. However, on the other side of things, District 69, they're certainly no strangers to this map, especially not if they get an Eevee on their team as well. And there's one player who will be looking out for to draft that priority pick.
Yeah, Ship has been looking so strong on that all day, and that's been, frankly, who they've been leading on. Shippa and Peridot getting their signature picks very often here, where Androxus is going to be, I think, one of the more contested ones here between these two teams, especially, you know, looking at Stolzy and Perdo. They're really going to be vying for this.
Now, you would argue that Frog Isle is not the best map necessarily to run Androxus on. There's a lot of open space where Androxus can be poked out. He deals his best damage up close and personal because he does suffer from damage fall-off. However, with this much Androxus reputation on the line, I mean, these two players, Stolzy and Perdo, do you think they're still going to elect to go into the Godslayer here and try and pick up that champion to defend their titles?
I think they really will, man, honestly. So much pride is on the line here, not only for the regions, but vying for who's better at the champion here. It's a very fun time to play Androxus on this land setting with low ping. There is no excuses, just you and your aim versus him and his.
No, you pop reversal and straight up it goes. Better watch out, though, because we have seen all teams looking to draft Makoa as another priority pick, and we all know about reversal Makoa's Dredgeank interaction. If you pop it up, you can get pulled through it, so it's not the ultimate save that most Androxus players might consider it to be initially.
And that's a clutch point here, because we talk about how that's going to be a contested pick. Whoever gets Makoa is really, they're going to have to second guess whether or not they want to pick it into it as well. We've seen a lot of double frontliners through the day, even to go so far as seeing a triple frontliner come out in the previous set here. I'm interested to see how District69 is going to deal with this, because frankly, I just feel like they avoided it entirely, and against a strong team like Matchpoint, they're going to have to make some type of adjustment in the draft.
And we'll see exactly what that adjustment will be as we head through to our draft picking for Game 1 on Frog Isle between Matchpoint and District69. Matchpoint, finding out of the blue corner, have the first pick. Oh, that was fast. Immediately, Makoa, the turtle, moves.
That's going to be that. So D69, they have to ask themselves the question, do we go pick up Fernando? Do we grab Androxus as well? As like we were mentioning, it's just not the greatest pick ever on this map, much less into Makoa. D69 taking their time with this one. Fernando and Ruckus going to be locked immediately. And the response I want to see out of Matchpoint here is at least the Maldamba taking that away.
Oh, you can't give Fernando, Ruckus, and Maldamba to District69. They'll just run away with it. Now, we do know that we do have a history of Jera playing some good Ying, but still not the support healer that she used to be. Matchpoint looking to hover a Cassie. There we go. Maldamba with Kono's chosen, taken off the table. Cassie locked into, so Matchpoint have secured reliable frontline, reliable damage, and some very reliable support and sustain for their team at only 3 picks in.
So District69 now have the pressure off them, I feel, to pick up that healer now with Maldamba on the table. Shaolin, the Desert Wind, going to be hovered, and Androxus, the Godslayer. Do they dare pick it into Makoa? Likely to be played by Wardoom. Shaolin and Androxus will be the selection from District69.
Now Matchpoint are left with 2 picks to finalize their draft. One thing that is missing from their draft so far is going to be AoE damage. Eevee, who used to be the first pickup throughout the entire duration of the Eevee's Winter Classic tournament, has slipped through to a 4th or a 5th pickup for these teams. Will Matchpoint elect to go into the Winter Witch? She is hovered for the AoE damage. Buck 2. And let's talk about this for just a moment, because if Buck is locked in, this could throw a spanner in the works for District69. Where is their flank pressure going to come from now besides Androxus?
It's a good question. These are both great pickups, not only just inherently, but against District69 in particular. Elven Path really hasn't had the chance to play Buck at all today, and the Sky gets hovered, but no, the swift lock-in of Ying for D69 to lock in their team composition.
And I don't think we suspected anything otherwise. Ying, very necessary to supply some sustain to the side of District69, but one thing that is missing again from D69's draft is going to be AoE damage. Fernando, the only champion which can provide that in the form of their Flame Lance, which means that Matchpoint can very easily itemize against the damage type dealt by District69 by going straight into Haven, which we've talked about considerably early today. I've got a question for you, Nick. Would you consider Pip here to be a good pickup, potentially?
Against District69...
Or rather, District69 would Pip instead of Ying.
I don't really like it, considering Matchpoint only have 1 frontliner. Cassie is extremely MOBA. Maldamba, I think I give it to Cuss to have the reaction time to be able to slither out of an Evil Mojo, and the rest, the flank is going to be so spread out. There's just not going to be a lot of grouping up, I feel, for match point. So I don't know if Evil Mojo is really the best look.
Potentially, although that slow from Pip can be delicious, but instead Ying with more sustain, just more reliable sustain with your drop and your fire and forget support champion picked up. Overall, good compositions from either team. Ruckus going to District 69 has been an important win condition of many teams so far, but Matchpoint, they play it regularly, so obviously they know how to break it. How do you think Matchpoint are going to approach District 69's composition, and how do you think they're going to start off that initial point fight?
They're going to look for a clutch dredge anchor onto either Shaolin or Androxus, I feel. When talking with Matchpoint prior to this event, you know, we looked at Wardoom a little bit, and this is the relatively new member of their roster who came back into the scene after taking a short break, and Matchpoint just really sat down and said, this is a guy that is going to make any team better, so we may as well pick him up, and it's going to be a lot on weight on his shoulders with this Makoa to be able to get those clutch dredge anchors onto those key targets shutting down. I'm looking at Perdo on Androxus. That's the most comfortable I think anyone on District 69 is going to be.
You got to shut down that hyper carry, though. You mentioned Wardoom, and I do just want to raise a brief point. Matchpoint only dropping one set since the summer circuits to Team Eager in their region was the week that they first picked up Wardoom, and now Wardoom's come a long way and gelled with Matchpoint very, very well since then. But considering that they were the weak link in the team at that point, do you think there might be a deficit there going into LAN championships? Will they be getting some of those LAN jitters, a little bit nervous?
You know, all of Matchpoint, I'm pretty confident. It doesn't seem like a lot of nervous guys. They seem very confident. Wardoom is quiet, though. Wardoom is kind of the black sheep on this team for me. He doesn't seem like he fits the kind of personality build that the rest of them. He's quiet, he's calm, he's cool, collected, plays on, I think, the highest sensitivity out of all of the players. I was watching him get his setup. He's got this piece of paper, right, with just, it looks like when your teacher allows you to bring one note card in for a test and you have so much just crammed on there. He has everything down to a T, getting set up, and he plays with mouse acceleration, a high DPI. It's actually pretty insane.
Mouse acceleration, that's a very rare thing for a lot of FPS players to really pick up, and to explain to those of you watching from home who don't know what that is, it's something which is often shunned by a lot of FPS players. The faster you move your mouse, the further you turn, so it makes it difficult for a lot of players to hit those sniper shots, those precision shots, because if you want to snap between player to player, then obviously you snap quickly and you'll way overshoot your target. You know, if it's what you're used to and it's what you want to run with, perfect. And for a player like Wardoom, who's going to be playing these tanks, often known for their Fernando play, that could be a very good pickup if they want to do a quick 180 and pop a shield up to defend their team.
Yeah, frontliners not often highlighted for having to be highly precise, but Makoa so much rides on that cooldown, that dredge anchor, and it is a precision skill shot with some travel time, with some lead time, with a lot of intricate mechanics alongside of it. A lot of follow-up can be very deadly. A lot of international teams leaning on that setup early on to give themselves the man advantage, so that is exactly what I think Matchpoint is looking to do. And this is game one. You know, a lot of momentum's riding on this Pride, like we mentioned here. None of them want to give this up. I feel like these are pretty try-hard drafts from both of these squads.
You're not wrong there, although the one champion I do feel that really stands out in the entire draft overall, out of 10 different champions, is Buck.
Agreed.
You got Eevee? Okay. You got a high mobility flanker that can get to the backline, try and put some pressure on Ying. I'm just wondering what Buck's actually going to do here. Who are they going to dive on District 69? I don't see any single target which they can jump on. There's no Victor, there's no Tyra, there's an immobile champion. Ying has deployables that she can move around on. Buck's going to have their work cut out for them unless they work very well in a duo with their Eevee.
You're totally right. That's the question here. And just I want to speculate a bit about who's going to be playing who on Matchpoint, because a lot of flexibility here. Smidgen largely plays the Eevee, but largely plays Maldamba as well. Cusscutie, being that Smidgen, I assume, is going to be on Eevee, I would put then Cusscutie on Maldamba, but then who's going to play Buck? Because that's where Cusscutie would normally fill in.
Very curious indeed, although if we want to draw some parallels perhaps to their European counterparts right across the side in the red corner, Perdo, known for their Androxus, Stolzy, known for their Androxus. Did you know that Perdo is a Grandmaster Buck?
I did not know that.
He is a very good Buck player.
There's no portrait for that.
It is very terrifying to see that locked into a lobby, because you think, oh, it's a Buck player. You know, I can deal with these relatively well, and then
Perdo,
you find out it's Perdo, and you die.
You cry.
Yeah, no, your team just loses. They look at Buck and go, oh, Okay, how do I deal with this? He plays Buck to a level which a lot of other players don't. Ellenpath, known for their typically aggressive play, Podo a lot more selective, so I could potentially see Stoltzy filling in that role.
Yep, you can kiss your elo goodbye, Wardoom. Actually, you know, I could see Dosups on Cassie, Wardoom probably on Makoa there. The Buck it's the wild card, like you mentioned. It doesn't seem like it really fits into this composition. It doesn't really seem like it fits into what Matchpoint like to play, but Shaolin gonna be the best target for the Buck, but he's gonna have to keep track of Planet's cooldown and not leap into that.
And especially not leap near a wall. We've all seen today how devastating Impaler Arrow can be if Shaolin manages to confirm a stun onto a flanker who's trying to get into the backline. But with Eevee and Buck to deal with, I think these two could work quite well as a pincer duo. You know, one comes from one side, the other one comes from behind. And if you do manage to land a couple of shots under Shaolin from both champions, well, that should be most of the primary source of damage taken away from District69. I do feel like there's a lot of pressure resting on the shoulders of Shaolin because they are the only real long-distance damage coming through for the European team in red.
You know, one thing standing out to me from District69's composition as I look through these ultimates is there's not a lot of team fight power. All they've really got to bring it home is that accursed arm. There's not a lot of setup on the side of District69. They've got some firepower here with Hexafire, with accursed arm, whereas the opposite is the case on Match Point, I feel, where they have all the setup they need, but nothing really to drive it home.
But the thing is, if you combo maybe Ice Storm and Dread Serpent from Eevee and Maldamba respectively, I think you can still get a lot out of that just with your default weapon shots. And don't forget about Buck's Buck Wild ultimate. Double damage for a limited period of time, resets all cooldowns, reloads your weapon to full. That can definitely be used to clean up a couple of kills. And well, we combo that with Maldamba's 20% damage steroids onto enemies hit by Dread Serpent's Fear. That's starting to get a little bit dangerous.
Absolutely, and these tanks are going to start to fall. Repulsor Field from Ruckus is going to be a big team fight cooldown to be aware of. I wouldn't be surprised if Unbelievable played it here, but I anticipate that we'll see him on Fernando, as this is his comfort pick. This is the big matchup of the day, and D69 want to lead with their best foot forward.
And I do think you mentioned it right there, Repulsive Field. That's really the sink or swim element for District69 for me. Ying, she's relatively consistent regardless of who's playing here at a top level. Androxus, well, we know that they're going to be consistent because it's likely going to be Perdo, Shaolin as well, but Ruckus and that Repulsive Field. If Eevee comes in, looks for an ultimate, if Dread Serpent is dropped, that's going to be what helps keep the entire team alive. You combo that with Fernando's Immortal. I'm starting to see the sustained composition come out, if you know what I'm going for. Ruckus can keep their team safe with 50% damage reduction. Fernando keeps them from dying. Ying with their ultimate too will keep everybody alive and heal them back all up from the Immortal Ultimate's threshold. District69 are going to be a tough cookie to break down, and Matchpoint are going to have to depend heavily on itemization if they want to break through their defenses.
Crowd control versus sustain and mitigation. Going to be an interesting split here. I imagine most of District69 will go into Haven there. Eevee, though, that's going to be the wild card. Smidgen, like we mentioned, likely to be on this one, looking for clutch pickups here. Maybe he goes for Shaolin, and maybe Buck is just going to focus on Ying, because Shaolin versus Buck, oftentimes going toe-to-toe, will go the way of Shaolin, all cooldowns aside.
And then we start getting into a little bit of mind games with the defensive itemization coming from these two teams. Obviously, Matchpoint don't feel much of a need to go into blast shields, all of the primary source of damage from District69 being direct, not AoE, but you're playing a Shaolin who might be targeted by backline assassination. Are you in an environment where actually Eevee is the primary threat to you, and maybe you can be the one blast shields on the team because you want to stay alive and maybe turn the tables on her if you get a good planted combo off?
That's the question, right? And this is, you know, I find myself in this situation sometimes as well, where you really don't know who's going to be targeting you out. And sometimes this forces you to wait to buy your defensive item. You know, in Paladins, you can only buy one item from each category. So if you really want to get the most bang for your buck, you want to be absolutely sure who is targeting you out in this team fight. And even, you know, granted, once you commit, you know, Matchpoint and District69, they can see that. They can make the switch. They can communicate and decide who wants to be the target prioritization.
So we do talk often then a lot about defensive items being the first ones picked up by many teams just because you have more survivability. If you stay alive for longer, you've got more cooldown rotations available to you. You just deal more damage overall, and that can make a break or team fight. But with District69 not exactly knowing how this game is going to play out, they could ease in with some damage itemization, I feel, instead. Now, what have we got to play into? We've got Makoa's Shell Shield, but that's not really much of a shield when you have all players focusing it. It's a bit paper thin. I'm expecting heavy Cauterize to come out of District 69 and very early.
Gonna have to definitely lean on the anti-heal. Big thing we haven't yet talked about is the possibility of resilience here. Maldamba, you know, we've seen Cuss Cutie serve up the hot, fresh noodles before, and we'd likely see him to do it again. It's especially good against Ruckus, forcing him to stop firing, reset kind of the wind-up mechanic that he has on those miniguns. So D69, if they can't decide what defensive card they want to go for, they could just go for the reduced crowd control.
And I do like the idea of that. The reload stun coming through from Maldamba is definitely something to take into account. And of course, once we get into game, the players will have their loadouts locked in. So by examining those on the scoreboard, District 69 can get a better idea of what style of play Match Point's Maldamba will be running. But again, it's a lot of guessing games, a lot of mind games for both of these teams, because nobody's quite sure who's going to be running who until we get into the game. And Match Point, they're a team of flexible players.
Absolutely, and Fernando's Immortal going to be so clutch in mitigating a lot of the wombo combo setups, the hard crowd controls looking to come through for Match Point, and that's why I really think Resilience might be a good look for Unbelievable here, because Dread Serpent, you know, being able to reduce the amount of time that he is feared, he's going to come out of that ultimate, and it's just going to be able to buy time for him to get out of the ultimate, save his teammates, get into the Immortal, where as opposed, if you're not picking up the Resilience, you're going to be crowd controlled and burned down for that entire duration.
And I think we saw that earlier today. Fernando taken out before they could use Immortal. Also, for example, Makoa taken down before they can activate Ancient Rage because of Dread Serpent's fear. Could be a key element to go into. Whilst we have the opportunity, though, we want to shout out again District 69 from Europe, like Borito, who'll be appearing in Group B tomorrow, playing with a substitute on their roster because their team captain, Bugsy, couldn't make it here today, which is very unfortunate. They picked up Unbelievable, and he's got a bit of an unbelievable story himself, and I want to take you on a journey here, Nick. So Unbelievable, fabled for their pit play back in the early days of Paladins, finished in 4th place in the DreamHack qualifiers on Fate Esports. Then moved to Team Viral. In the full circuit, finished in 3rd place. Now, District 69, the 2nd seed out of Europe, and facing potentially the #1 team in the world. Could they look to make the 4-3-2-1 shuffle and dethrone some gods?
I mean, Unbelievable. He's been brought up, you know, for a reason. This is a guy I've enjoyed watching on some of those lower tier teams. He really was a standout guy, and it's tough to do as a tank. It's tough to do as a support. You know, Stelzy always holding W, making hot plays, getting the frags. It's very easy to bring attention to that, but it's just the little things that these supports, that these frontliners do that really make the difference. And you know, D69 are smart guys, the reigning lane champions here. They brought him here for a reason, just like Matchpoint brought Wardoom in for a reason.
You did mention, though, and we'll come to that and again in a second, but District 69, reigning land champions, they have experience of this style of stage. In fact, DreamHack Summer in Jönköping, Sweden, that was a big stage indeed, surrounded by a lot of noise, a lot of distractions. Still remain cool, calm, and collected, but versus Black Dragons, they were the only team to really let a point slip through. And as I said right at the beginning of this draft, showing potential cracks in the armor, if Matchpoint are going to capitalize on that and focus down any single player on District 69 to try and open a fight up and open up some of those cracks, who are they going to be looking to pick?
I think, you know, they look at Unbelievable. If they can break him early, break his confidence on this stage, that's always a good look in terms of mentality shift, and he might be the one to do it. You know, if no one's stepping out of position from D69, I'm looking at Gara and Perdo, unlikely the Shaolin and Androxus. If they're just in position and Unbelievable's the only one within range of this follow-up, I mean, he's going to be the one that they're forced to look at.
No kidding. You want to shut down those hyper carries. You do want to shut down those wild cards because they can be potentially devastating if they go unchecked, and especially if they get into your backline. Perdo, notably a player who has a habit of doing that on Androxus, and when they do start hitting their shots and they do start confirming damage, then you got to turn around and deal with them very quickly, and that's what a lot of District 69 appears to depend on, forcing the frontline backline split and forcing the focus to be split in several different directions, allowing them to dismantle their enemy from multiple sides, push through aggressively.
Yeah, and I mean, Perdo even has an interesting storyline. You mentioned he played on high ping, low FPS, and no one really gave him a lot of credit. And then when he got to the LAN environment where all things were equalized on the playing field, he has that breakout performance.
And I love this as well because we saw Perdo go through, take down Torpedo at the time, who were pretty much undefeated on an online setting, and then face, and this is a good one as well, I just love this story. We saw Gaming at the time take on Warpath, Stolzy versus Cuscutie, back in the days when we had mirror matches of Androxus versus Androxus. Cuscutie getting the better of Stolzy in this environment. And then Perdo will take Andro and wiped the floor with them. 3-0 in a best-of-5 grand finals set to end it all at the Founders Tournament, which was absolutely unbelievable.
We're going to be very excited to bring you this set. We're having a bit of an issue on stage right now. We're going to work on getting that sorted out. All excited to bring you this set. We're going to throw you guys to a quick break and get you right back into the action.
Welcome back, champions, to the realm, to Vox and Pretty Hair's Storytime Cafe.
Stay a while
We are
and listen.
very happy to tell you that we are about to get back into, or rather into, Game 1 of this sixth set of the day between Matchpoint and District69 here at the Paladins Invitational at Hi-Rez Expo 2017.
This is the most anticipated matchup of the day by far. Both of these teams, a lot of pride on the line here, ready to get in the game. We've seen the draft broken down just about every possible angle.
We can squeeze some more out of that somewhere. You know, there's some champions which we haven't really fully discussed. There's some players which, you know, they have flavor picks that they pick in ranked or casual games or...
I feel like this series right now is a metaphorical tube of toothpaste.
Okay.
And we've rolled it all the way up from the bottom here. There is no more to squish out right now. We are headed into game. Let's get this series underway.
And without further ado, for the last time, or rather for the last set today, let's introduce your teams. Fighting out of the blue corner, it is Matchpoint. Cuscutie will be on Maldamba. Wardoom on Makoa. Smidgen on Eevee. Stolzy picks up Cassie, and Doze Up takes to the skies and the ground as
Fighting
Buck.
for both pride and seeding. District69 out of the right side of the spectator UI. Unbelievable on Ruckus. Elven Path on Fernando. Perdo on Androxus. Shippa on Cha Lin. Guerra grinding things out on Ying.
Initial itemization coming through relatively standard. Matchpoint elect to go into the damage itemization, which was not what we predicted. Everybody on D69 being defensive. Nice Dredge Anchor starts things off, but Wardoom takes a bit of poke in return. Into the backline goes Buck. Can they find anything? I don't know, because Smidgen's being pressured out. Elven Path and Perdo pick up 2 kills. District69 hold an early advantage.
Stolzy needs to make a decision here. It looks like he just wants to get out. A wise choice, falling back. Just clutch pickups right now, unable to convert on the Dredge Anchor. Wardoom was the first to fall. D69 with the initial point control, 42% and climbing, but Matchpoint are 5 strong.
And look at this, Smidgen being poked out early initially. Flicker will keep them healthy, but onto the objective again is District69. 69% and rising. Matchpoint have got to get on now, or at least very, very quickly. Who's going to make a break for it? Dredge Anchor might kick things off. Onto the objective is Eevee, but they can't find a way in. 93, 96, 99. Eevee comes from behind, but she's taken out before she can contest into overtime. District69 come out strong with initial capture point control.
Open Path keeping things rolling right now for District69. Kills are flowing for D69. See him pushing forward right now. Perdo right hot on his heels, keeping the picks staggered for Matchpoint right now. Feet cut out from under them, staggered and broken. Can D69 keep Matchpoint on the back foot?
Maybe if they can capitalize on the back of the Dredge Anchor. Reversal isn't good enough, but it is to confirm the damage back onto Wardoom. There's a trade coming out between these two teams, but Matchpoint aren't putting up a defense yet, having lost one of their frontliners, and now they are hard to push to try and shut anybody down. Nice Jarlin, arrows midair. Buck and Eevee going to be punished for that, but Doze Up comes in, picks up the double kill on Buck, and is hunting for even more blood.
Doze doubling down for the double kill. Needs to find more here. Just not looking for it. Will find it with the heroic leap, finding his angle and blowing it wide open. Matchpoint right now leaning on Doze here to break things open in the backline. Smidgen struggling to get it done right now as Eevee, but all 5 members are returning for D69.
Oh, and Doze Up confirms another kill on this Sheepa. Gets punished for it, but has taken out one of the primary carries of District69. Where was this Matchpoint all the time during that initial capture point control. The payload, nobody's near it. District69 forced back towards their base, waiting on respawns. Match point looking like they figured themselves out.
Eevee has to go big in this game, finding a nice pop shot onto Shaolin, but now pressured out by Elvin Path. You know he's going to continue to keep this up. The dot ticking through, misses a blink onto the high ground, is going to be forced to take the stairs.
But at least has some healing from Flicker as well. That card which does heal Eevee every time she blinks, and blinks back with Wormhole to keep her in the fight. Dredgeanchor comes through on a Burner who gets shut down by Gus Goody. Elvin Path dives on in, but he's outnumbered, he's outmatched, and will go down to Smidgen. 25 seconds to go. District69 have got to find an answer to take this into overtime because they are being shut down from every corner and every avenue.
Stolzy going big, finding a triple kill for the American Match Point squad, looking so strong right now. Bit of a lone wolf, but this is how Stolzy prefers it. Holding W, making hot plays, holding mouse 1, 3, 2, 1, ticks the clock, and no one from D69 anywhere close.
But check out what District69 did at the end of the round. 5 ultimates on the table. They don't want to give any additional ultimate charge to Wardoom, who did use Ancient Rage previously, only sitting at 13%. So they stay in base, not giving credits to their enemies, not giving kills to their enemies and ultimate charge. A very wise decision from the veteran team.
That is what it comes down to. Ult management so important when all the skills are equalized for all intents and purposes. Everyone's so good at this level. The Wreckers, though, starting to come through for match point, and this could prove to start to be a bit of an issue for D69, and their front line is going to get more and more fragile as the game moves on. Likewise, Elvin Pass already hitting the mark there on the Cauterize 2 alongside Dosep, so anti-heal coming out in a big way just 5 minutes in.
Now watch out for Wardoom, dashing ahead with Master Riding 2, trying to find an early Dredgeanchor, does actually miss, and now the deficit with the Isom ultimate could turn things up.
Nice.
Rampage of Stolzy takes out Pearl, Medicus it up, takes out another with Smidgen, it's unbelievable falls, and is looking for more. Damage comes through on a Shaolin, drop backwards to safety, and retreats round the corner, trying to avoid any additional poke.
Great trades for both teams on the ultimates. No one taking a convincing win. However, Smidgen going down is going to relieve a lot of pressure off of D69's back line, and so is that Dredgeanchor missing. Moving in with the Shell Shield, Stolzy has got to go big.
Oh, the planted comes through. Jara cleans up Stolzy, and Matchpoint's primary carry has gone down. District69 established back on the objective again, 60% and rising. Wardoom looks to make a move, but they've got no ultimate, and they're under half HP.
He's so low right now, cannot afford to get back in. Match point again, making a wise call to give it up. It's a tough call to make, but it separates the men from the boys here. They don't want to feed any more credits, any more ultimate charge than they have to, but we are in overtime. Match point making moves.
And we see Androxus come around from behind. Purtle looking for the kills. Elvin Path takes out Wardoom. Unbelievable kills. Smidgen as well. Match point have nowhere to run. They're forced into the enemy's base. Stolzy shut down by Purtle. Overtime will tick down. 2-1 leads the scoreboard again for District 69.
That was absolutely huge, that trade between Perdo and Stolzy, because there were so many more low targets for Stolzy to rip through. They may have been able to make a comeback play. Wardoom, though, just under so much pressure, unable to find the Dredgeanchors that we're so used to seeing out of him.
And I just wanted to point out as well, when that Dredgeanchor came through, we saw them pull Ruckus in, but at the same time, Makoa was immobilized and took so much focus fight during that. District 69 min-maxing everywhere they can. Bucks diving into the backline, but it just doesn't matter. Shiba trying to hold the avenue, is waiting for Eevee to blink in, gets the shutdown kill on the Smidgen. This could be a conversion if the respawn stays staggered.
This is a struggle right now for Matchpoint on the back foot. D69 target prioritization is on point. Stolzy's falling so low, needs to stay alive in this situation. Dredgeanchor's gonna pull one up onto the high ground, but here's the accursed arm.
Oh no, but the Shell Shield blocks all the damage. Stolzy comes back in with the kill. Unbelievable. We'll be trying to frontline this fight, but the rest of the team are falling all around them. But Dosep and Wardoom clean up. Ancient Rage Makoa swinging along with her anchor, takes out everybody, and that's a full team wipe for the team in blue.
Matchpoint able to find the angle once again. Dosep specifically, when he goes big in the backline, he has the most killing blows in the game right now, tied surprisingly with Gara on Ying, but he has been been the clutch factor right now. Smidgen just not getting it done on the back line.
Well, they do have their Ice Storm ultimate available if they elect to go in. 55 seconds and falling. District69 close to conversion, need to be held at bay before they can get towards the objective and build up momentum. Notably unbelievable, sitting on the Hexafire, excuse me, could be some trouble. So Smidgen decides to make their move, but they find nothing. Dread Serpent comes through, and it's all mitigated by match point, and everything is blue.
Lockdown, not going to be coming out here. Stolzy trying to lock down some more kills. Wardoom goes to double disengage, mitigated by the shield. Doesn't matter. Elven Path still going to fall. 25 seconds left on the clock here. Ultimates are being used close to the end of the round here. So again, District69 going to be heading into the round likely with the ultimate advantage heavily in their favor.
And also, I feel like Wardoom can hear what we're saying right now, because those dredge anchors, which were missing earlier, allowed him to pick up 3 kills on the back of that fight. Now sitting at 5, 6, and 8 for a frontliner. That's a very respectable slash line. And again, District69 take the high road, give up that capture fight, and don't feed their enemy any advantage.
Both of these teams, you can tell the respect between them. Match point making pretty early calls to give up on capture points. Likewise, District69 staying back off payload pushes they just don't see going through. That was very close as well. That was almost one more fight. Probably would have spelt the conversion for D69, but they back off. Still in lead of the net worth charts, however, match point. These late game items are starting to come through. So much anti-heal from District69. Cuss Cutie is gonna have to bring more to the table.
But they are very tanky themselves, and we can see that match point are getting late game itemization on 2, and they have the damage now to break through District69's defenses. Repulsive field is all Unbelievable can bring to the table at this point. Early dredge anchor will miss from Wardu. Who's gonna make the opening play?
We'll have to see. It has yet to be seen. All the cooldowns available. Here comes the Hexafire, mitigated by the Fernando shield, is going to be buying space. Unbelievable finding the first kill in this engagement, finds the second as well.
So Unbelievable sitting on 2, looking for more, though back to the objective, stacking up capture for that team. 40% and rising is dredged into danger, but Advance will get them to safety, and all the while Perdo just swinging at the team planted from Shiba comes through to lock off an angle, and again match point on the back foot on the objective fight. Somebody's got to go in.
Nice bait though to get the repulsor field out early. Smidgen got in the back line, forced Unbelievable maybe nervously to pop it. It was just one of them. No one was in danger of dying. D69, however, no one from match point can get on the point. 3-2 reads the slash line.
It feels like a bit of an impossible fight. If you try and go head on, you go straight into Ruckus. If you try and go from behind, Charlene is waiting for you, as is Androxus, and the Godslayer looking to potentially capitalize on the 3-2 scoreline with a conversion for the first set win. Accursed Arm is available. Will Perdo make their move?
Just so strong on the objective is D69's composition. Missed heroic leap from Dosup's gonna keep both him and Stolzy pinned in a corner for the time being, and meanwhile D69 are able to find 2 picks in this engagement. They continue to roll forward, momentum on their side.
And if District69 want to keep up the momentum, I don't want to see kills coming through. I want to see heavy poke. Apply Cauterize, back off, keep everybody low on the side of match points so they can't capitalize on conversions from the skies. Death awaits you all, counted out by the intermate from Makoa. So tanky, but he's being burnt down piece by piece. Immortal comes out from Fernando. Elven Path keeps the team alive. And red team are in the advantage. District69 looking to break through.
Colossal amounts of mitigation coming out from District69. It just feels like it never ends. Match point, as they have done 3 times before now, able to find the stabilization play late into the payload push, but these defenses are not going to win this game.
Absolutely, they can equalize to 3-3, but they've got to focus on the capture fight. And one thing which Matchpoint have been doing every single defense is using their ultimates. At this point, I feel like that's something that they have to save. But with 55 seconds left, now counting down once again, and District69 pushing towards the payload, will they have that luxury?
This is the closest they have come with the most time left on the clock. Here's the Dread Serpent to start things off.
And up and down goes Dozos, but your sight fails you. Charlene is in their desert haze that nobody can find them, nobody can see them. Shiva picks up 1. Solzy and Cuss Just Cutie, though, notably answering back, but Unbelievable is on the payload. Hexafire is ready. Stolzy dives on in, but Hexafire isn't even necessary. They will fall down. In goes Magoa, and now it comes ripping and tearing through their opponent's shell spin. Will not get you out of danger, but the respawns keep on piling down one by one.
They all fall down, however. All the King forces and all the King's men couldn't put match point back together again.
District 69 flexing their muscles. The second seed team coming out of Europe makes you a little bit apprehensive for tomorrow if you consider what Burrito are capable of, but on land, they are a completely different monster. Elven Path, deep in conversation with the rest of his team, is eager to talk about what happened that game and prevent maybe some of those missed payload conversion opportunities from happening again.
I don't think Elven Path stopped talking that entire game. I would watch him during these team fights. I can't see his mouth, but I can see his forehead. His forehead is doing all the talking. His face is just contorting the entire duration of these team fights. You can tell he is the leader. He is stepping up for his squad.
Absolutely, calling the shots, making the calls where necessary to allow his team to capitalize on some of the avenues of entry which were opened up. But rather than avenues of entry, it feels like Matchpoint that last game couldn't find any to get towards the objective despite their late game itemization.
They didn't have, I feel, the best composition. A lot of flank pressure. We highlighted this during our Epic Odyssey during the pre-match breakdown, but the picks just didn't seem like they were falling in the right spots there. Smidgen's Eevee not quite hitting the mark, sitting at about 4 and 8, I think was the last time I saw his slash line buck. Joseph did well on the buck for all intents and purposes, but could he have done better on something else? Maybe a Bomb King even ripping through some of these frontliners?
Potentially, and we'll have to find that out coming up next game. But for the time being, let's take a look at the stats from game number 1 and give you all a breakdown of what just happened. And let's see, interestingly enough, Stolzy living up to their name, topping the damage charts overall. But check out Sheepa's Charlene, and that's a player which I think we should talk about because they were waiting for the flanks.
Definitely, they're 75,000 damage. Great management, I think, of Planet. Given that there wasn't a ton of CC on this District 69 squad, firepower and mitigation was the name of the game for their team fights here. And the objective time for this ruckus, 283, where we barely saw anyone break 30 seconds on match point, and that was Joseph's, the squishiest character in Paladins.
I think that Unbelievable at this point is actually glued to the payload. I mean, one thing which they did very well was jump on the payload close to the end of conversion and then use Hexafire, because you're being carted along and all of a sudden you are a true roving death machine. That's a very scary sight to face. Often players will try and utilize the payload hitbox to hide behind, duke out some of that damage from Hexafire. I love the sort of instinctive counterplay to counteract that that, how should we say this, environmental hazard?
So much damage from everyone on District 69. Gera, 51,000 on the Ying. Not far behind Elven Path and Unbelievable on these aggressive frontliners. Everyone from District 69 was playing extremely well there, and that's going to be game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to see where the rest of hopefully this best of 5 unfolds. I'm hoping we go the distance this time around because these games are intense.
Matchpoint need to make an adjustment here. District 69 with a 4-2 victory on Frog Isle. The next map up will be Frozen Guard. We're going blue, and maybe we're going to see some different styles of team compositions come out. We're yet to see a Kinessa today.
Yeah, no Kinessas at all. With Timber Mill banned, this is likely where it's going to happen, if at all. I mean, the sight lines are long here. It's just a matter of peel, composition. It's dangerous to pick against D69 with such premier flank players like Shippa on Eevee, like Elven Path on Buck. I feel like people are just trying to take Buck away from Elven Path, and he's really stepping up, being able to show that he can play something else.
Well, he made a name for himself on Fernando during those DreamHack qualifiers, utilizing Master Riding at the time, or rather Equestrian, to mount up, get into the backline, play the flank Nando we've known to come and love. But going back to Eevee and Sheepa, now if Matchpoint want to run a range damage composition, if they want to elect to go into something like Kinessa and have that high power one-shot potential if you hit a headshot with your ultimate active onto most champions, then I feel like they have to go for an Eevee early into the draft. But then again, this allows District 69 to potentially get that trifecta of Makoa, Ruckus, and Maldamba. It's a bit of a risky move there.
Can they just try and deal with the potential flank pressure coming out? Matchpoint's still smiling though, and you specifically mentioned this, Warden, one of the best Fernandos you think in the world, and I'm inclined to agree with you. So he could provide the peel that they need, the relief from this flank pressure. These Knessa players are good enough to the point where they can win the Eevee versus Knessa matchup if given the space to do so. We saw in top play of 2016, Lemonade just getting it done by himself.
Oh my goodness, Lemonade is unbelievable on Knessa. And you know what? They're a player who's come up through the European scene recently, made it towards the top of the Eevees Winter Classic. Wait for them to come into play in 2017 competitive. But for the time being, who else might play that Knessa role very well on match point if they elect to go for it?
It could be Dosovs, could be Stolzy, Cuskewty can play it. All good options. That's kind of the strength for Matchpoint here, I think, is their flexibility in terms of how many people can play their power picks. But then we look at the draft from last game, we see things like the Buck. We see ourselves questioning a lot. Who's going to be on this? You know, this guy really only plays this when it comes to Matchpoint here. And I feel like with us being left with those question marks, it kind of means it's not going to be the strongest draft out of Matchpoint.
Yeah, Matchpoint are probably going to be asking those same questions themselves. District69, though, what they ran worked out very well for them previously. The Fernando, the Ruckus, everything like that was perfect. Matchpoint had great success earlier today, however, putting Doze-ups on Ruckus. Do you think we're going to see that pick stolen away?
You know, you asked me, heck, a month ago, 2 months ago, how much we be talking about Ruckus here, given no changes. It just blows me away how this guy has just come into his own. Team's really just, I think, starting to figure out Repulsive Fear more and being able to manage that more effectively is just huge. I mean, when that came out, I looked at it, I was like, man, this could be really good if teams start to figure it out, and they are.
They certainly are. One thing which I always want to see with Repulsive Field, of course, for those of you just joining us on the broadcast or new to Paladins, that's an ability that Ruckus has for their alternate fire. When you're in close proximity to an objective, you can provide an AoE shield, which gives your team 50% damage reduction, which is huge in a team fight. And Droxus Accursed Arm, that's 1,000 damage to only 500, taking 4 shots just to kill a Knessa. Fantastic for a big fight. Also utilizing that well would be Maldamba. They got a very specific card which they can elect to go to in their decks called Possession, providing you with up to 18% damage reduction whilst you're healing an ally with Mending Spirits. You pair those two together, due to the additive nature of damage reduction in Paladins, that's a very tanky snake, and considering Maldamba's health pool as well, they're very difficult to kill.
Gets up to 96% damage reduction.
It's kind of nutty.
During Repulsor Field.
That is ooh.
The unkillable master.
Wicano's chosen. You combo that as well with the reload stun lock build from Maldamba, utilizing Snake Pit for that initial 20% reload speed reduction or reload speed increase, and a couple of deft hands. As we know, we love to see those deft hands come out flying the past the shelf Maldamba. And then you have a third frontliner, potentially. It's pretty devastating.
Absolutely is here, Frozen Guard. I'm just thinking about Ruckus on this map, though. I'm not sure how the deal is going to work out for him, especially if there's a Knessa. We saw this come out a little bit earlier in the day. Knessa, when she gets the space to operate on Frozen Guard, is just so scary, just being able to blow up tanks, pin them to the wall from such a safe distance and space. Control was really in favor of District69. Do we see Matchpoint overcorrect and try and go for a little bit too much of that this game?
You said a specific buzz phrase there, and honestly, Matchpoint, and that was pin them to the wall. Matchpoint, they might like to go into that, but one pick which I think might help them do this better than Knessa, we've seen a lot of them today, it's Charlene. They fulfill that semi-sniper role. They've got projectile-based arrows, but they still deal massive damage over distance, and it's incredibly devastating. So I do expect to see that come out again. And honestly, I feel like at this point, we're going to see Charlene prioritize over the flavor pick of Knessa just because they are a little bit more survivable.
Quite literally pinning people to the wall. Be very interested to see how this champion draft plays out once we get in. Both teams kind of just still discussing here. D69 looking confident, nodding their heads a little bit. Garrett just chilling out right now. Doesn't want to expend too much energy. About to sip on that water a little bit here. These American flags looking good, though, still from Matchpoint.
They certainly are, although I've got to be asking you the question, is it wise to put them on top of a computer? Are Matchpoint going to have to find some other way to vent if they can't expel their heat from the top? And speaking of which, Fernando was played very well last game. It's going to be a priority pick potentially for District69. Now, there are a couple of different loadouts which we've seen Fernando run recently in competitive play. They used to run a lot of the Fireball loadout where you'd kind of throw out your Fireball, have Incinerate 4 for max cooldown reduction on that, and then chase after your enemies. We're starting to see a bit of shield cooldown play come back back into, well, play. Is there a specific favorite that you know that certain players prefer?
I know that I love the chase down type of build when he's able to supplement his movement speed with a low cooldown fireball. I think Wardoom prefers to play that style. He's a pretty aggressive guy. A lot of Fernando players are unbelievable. Is kind of the premier defensive one, but Wardoom has the ability to flex both ways, and that's really kind of why he has cemented his status as sort of that top-tier frontline player.
That certainly is the case. So the map draft brings up a lot of questions. The players bring up a lot of questions for the champion draft as well. But for the time being, Match Point, they looked so strong early in the day. They looked so strong early in the sets. They put a lot on the line by declaring themselves #1 team. They went in with the attitude that they wanted to win. One game now down to the second seed out of Europe, District69. How's that going to make them feel?
Well, you see Match Point very confident going into this one, very loud, confident in themselves. Can they keep that up?
Very
right
American.
Now? They're pretty quiet.
I'm European,
here.
I can say that.
I'm thinking it comes down to when they win a big team fight, if they're able to get loud again, very hype team. I wouldn't say easily tilted because a lot of like passionate teams can be easily tilted when things don't go their way, but I see a lot of mental strength across all 5 of these guys.
What I'm hearing is momentum is important. Once they get rolling, they can keep rolling, but if they can't get that initial momentum going, they find it difficult to start up from zero. Starting from cold, I mean, they're very warmed up today, having just played 2 earlier sets, but still not against the same caliber of competition that District69, your previous LAN champions, provide. Maybe they're running into a bit of a hitch here.
Absolutely. Now looks like we're starting to get things sorted out here. What adjustments exactly are you looking for Match Point? Personally, I didn't like the Buck pickup too much. I thought the flank pressure was just trying to force the issue that just wasn't there.
I don't like the double flank, especially that late in the draft. Eevee and Buck picked up as the 2 final picks for Match Point. Who are you going to dive on into? It's absolute. There's nobody to really capitalize your flank pressure on. Eevee's just generally all-round good. You can jump in to Makoa's shield or behind Fernando's shield, drop some pressure, but Buck relies on being able to chase down enemies. But at last, the draft is on screen. Match Point have the first pick for Frozen Guard. Who will they select? Aha.
Nice.
Yes.
Going for the Fernando first. Going to be important to control the space around this point. Plus, Wardoom's so good on it, unbelievable. Taking that away from him is always a good look.
To respond, District69, we've seen it flip-flop back and forth. They go with Makoa, drafting the Charlene early too, preventing Match Point from taking that away. And Charlene was such a pivotal pick for D69 last game, waiting for Eevee to blink into the backline. This almost dissuades the Eevee pick at this point, I think, because Smidgen just couldn't seem to handle them.
I think D69 is starting to figure that out. They're saying, you know, we're not going to pick up Eevee. Let's feel these guys out a little bit. We're up a game. Let's see if they'll take the Eevee away from us, or if we can just have the space to draft. And Cassie and Drogo's going to be the selection. I think that's going to answer that question. Still not forced to lock in the Eevee.
So, Drogo's with their one-shot ultimate potential on Dragon Punch. A great counter to Makoa and Ruckus. No immortal ultimate from Fernando to keep those frontliners alive. District69, well, when that ultimate's used, one of them will die. They respond with Ruckus and Maldamba. They have the Makoa, Ruckus, Maldamba trifecta. But Match Point, they're not done yet. And Droxus is hovered. Grover is hovered. Grover is locked. I am thrilled to at last cast a Grover game alongside you.
Bless puns incoming, ladies and gentlemen. Just prepare yourself for some Grover times, game Grovers eventually, and God knows what else you've got cooking up in that lovely head of yours.
Routing plays. We'll come up with some stuff on the fly, folks. I feel like I need a book. Instead of a book of rhymes, I have a book of Grover puns at this point, although Tyra provides some great opportunities. Similar to Tyra, however, in her playstyle, is going to be Victor, the final pick for District69. And at this point, that's a safe pick to lock in because there is not much of that highly focusing flank pressure coming out of Match Point. They've got an Androxus, but they're going to be spotted out and focused down early. So Victor is a very open pick. Still, though, District69, all direct damage.
They've got an Androxus. This is not an Androxus. This is
oh my goodness, forgive me.
Match Point, ready to teach Peridot a lesson, seeing if he can win that matchup against the lone wolf. Cuss Cutie will be on Drogo. Stolzy on his comfort zone. Wardoob on his and Fernando. Smidgen on Grove Street this time. Doseph's on another comfort bid. Match point looking comfy going into this one.
One game up so far then. The opponents of District 69 with Sheepa on Shaolin. Unbelievable once again on the Ruckus Perdo. Takes the victor up in arms. Elven Path on Makoa, their comrade, and Jera will be on Maldamba. Round the backline is Stolz immediately getting 2 shots onto the Shaolin, but poke is returned and Stolzy is forced to flee.
Both teams just kind of ring around the rosying around the point. Currently no kills yet. So we are over a minute into this game here. Parados sitting safe, great positioning from the Victor player to stay safe. Spots out Stolzy, doesn't want any part of that. Here comes Planted to beat back match point once again. Still no kills.
This is just ridiculous at this point in time, but a big dredge anchor could open things up. Unbelievable picks up first blood off the back of that. Doze Ups is coming from behind, but they've met every player of District 69 right to the face and are forced to go around the outside of the objective to escape that pressure. Now Ruckus is on the objective and a repulsor field is going to start to come into play.
Wardoom falls, Stolzy as well, and they gave it up before match point. Likely to give this one up as well as they pass 79%. D69 are looking like they have this one done and dusted. Nice dismounts coming through from Shippa is going to make this difficult.
But hold that thought. Match point do get themselves on to the objective. Fernando going to be leading the charge. Stolzy picks up one around the backside. Unbelievable. Try and lock things down. Stolzy finds a double kill. Stolzy's looking for a triple kill. The repulsor field is active, but still Unbelievable will fall to Smidgen. Game grower, they say. Stolzy gets the double-double. Cleans things up, and a 99% to D69. Match point are back in the game.
Locking it down. Stolzy proving he is not just any old Androxus. Forces out Planet as well. Another big cooldown down match point. Here's the zone, the lone wolf. Stolzy holding W. Not even forced to ultimate. Match point. Claw their way back and take the first payload of the game.
What a turnaround from the previous game on Frog Isle. Now advancing forwards. Smidgen's cleaning up players left and right, it seems. Oh, Dragon Punch channeled in the wrong place. Cuscutie going to use that to get out of dodge. Was hoping the shield would last a bit longer than it did, but straight back the objective, sitting on currently 33% ultimate charge. That'll stack up very quickly once again.
Absolutely. Not connecting with a player means not all of this ultimate charge will be expended, so not a bad call. Again, match point showing they can make the difficult decisions when it matters most. Cuscutie able to make the most of a bad situation despite a defensive Dragon Punch coming out, but
round the corner,
saved by the bell.
Whoa, that was close, Cuscutie, and the fire spit fall off is good, but not enough to knock somebody over the edge. Now we will see Wardoom trying to frontline, just jumping up and down, blocking all this focus fire coming from Ruckus, but is impaled into a wall. Unbi gets 2, and Ruckus advances. Match point are forced to withdraw.
Stolzy falling down early in that team fight is never good for a match point. So much rides on his performance fight to fight, and then a mischarge from Wardoom, a rare misplay out of the frontliner from the boys in NA. Cuscutie going to be staggered far behind as well. It takes some time. A minute still remains here. A missed dredge anchor and a forced reset from District 69.
And whilst we have the opportunity, I just want to talk about how well Unbelievable has been playing these last 2 games on Ruckus. Primarily that Fernando and Pit player. They've really taken this new champion into their stride. Hold that thought though, Impaler Arrow hits Wardoom, and match points wind could be taken out of their sails if we find some picks here.
Forced into the Immortal all by himself. Wardoom just trying to buy time for a shield cooldown to come up. Doesn't need it just yet. Trying to find these long-range shots, but unable to do so. Unbelievable. Getting aggressive on the Stolzy. Hill's going to find him 300 HP in the backline. Everyone's ignoring Unbelievable. A repulsor field comes out. If emitter comes up as well, that's 300 more HP for him. He's shredding through, forcing out the whirlwind.
Smidgen will be being brought low, impaled into a wall, takes focus fire and goes down. Unbelievable. That was, well, rather unbelievable. And I feel like I made that joke a few too many times, but great play coming out of the substitute for District 69. 7-1 and 2.
Who are you saving there, Smidgen? He's going to be down for the next round there.
The big swing has come, and also so is a successful defense as we are 1-1 on the scoreboard. District 69 are back in the game.
We've got 1 ultimate for match point, ladies and gentlemen, whereas District 69 sitting on 5 ultimates. So a 5-to-1 swing for D69. They can find 20% of the value here and still come out even. Damage dealt, going to be led by Cutie. This is what we're kind of used to seeing from Drogos. However, a lot of confirmable damage onto the point with that fire spit. Cauterized 2s starting to come online. If we could take a look at the healing charts, we're going to see right now Maldamba way out in front. Era, he's running the stun build as well, and he's still getting it done. This Grover just not hitting the mark. I don't see it coming on any line better with these Cauterized 2 coming through in round 2.
You certainly can't underestimate Maldamba's healing. Initial point fight, going to be a bit of a dance again. Jaguar will set things up, though. Reversal straight out of that is good. A match point respond. No, they're getting chased out of the issue. Stunned is Stolzy, about to fall down, but the heal from Grover is good to buy time. Perdo takes some focus fire grenade over the edge, will help clean up Stolzy, however. And again, District69 are taking initial control, but we've seen this story before.
That's with one ultimate used as well. The Dread Serpent, the only one down, and it's already back to 25%. Perdo needs to have the heat turned up on him. He is under no pressure right now. 2,400 HP on this Victor. Will fall easily if they can get some pressure onto him. Garen, though, Wardoom's on the point. Stun's gonna miss. Hexafire comes out. I don't know if that was a bit of a misplay. Trusted him to hit the stun.
And it's just buying time, but we're still into overtime as Unbelievable is being pressured slightly now. Ancient Rage used by Elven Path will buy more time for the team. He finds one, but it's taken out by Stolzy. 99% again, and Unbelievable. The last one standing. It's the same old story as Doe cleans up the ruckus. And I can't believe it. They've done it again. Match point. They're still here.
Because he's Doyo. He's the greatest Cassie ever. And he'll weather your weather sweater, but not 99% for D69. But once again, match point refusing to fall without a fight.
Now District69 must make their way back on. An early Dredge Anchor comes through, but Cutie held Dragon Punch that entire fight, takes down Elven Path, and it's just a solo ruckus to contest. He can't even reach it. The first bit to zone. Match point 2-1 with a successful capture for the second time in a row.
Clawing their way back, the comeback kids. Fire Spit putting the pressure up on the point. Nice cleanup from Dosups there. Double kill for him, and that's going to create some space for match point to get this push rolling. Ultimate's starting to come online for them. They will have those available to try and break this first choke. You can see them approaching in the distance. Unbelievable, doing his best to hold it down.
But all the time, Cutie is just locking off angles with Drogos, pummeling out rockets and fire spits whenever available to provide constant lock off. You can't have Unbelievable stepping out if they're losing half their HP in 1 or 2 shots, and as a result, Cutie's zone pressure is so important to that team. Perdo knocked back by Fire Spit, and now we come to the meat of the fight. Back through the choke, out into the open. Will match point push through, or will they be shut down?
Yikes, Cutie going down, and it looks like the call is to back up right now. Match point don't want to get in a staggered respawn scenario. This isn't the longest walk back from spawn, but it is up there on Frozen Guard, and match point need to make every second count if they have a hope of converting at D69. Smidgen gonna reposition with the Vine. Stolzy is looking for the backline dive against Perdo.
But he's going up. He's silent. He's not being found. Perdo is using Barrage. Stolzy's looking to charge with the ultimate. No, impaled. Straight into reverse to keep himself safe. But Stolzy's at 1100 HP and a lot of trouble. Trying to find shots, and now a Cursed Arm is available. Impaled again, but up to the sky. Damage rains down. 2 shots, 4 shots, 2 kills. Looking for a third. Will they get the trade? Jara gets the stun lock. 1 more shot. The outplay comes through. But here we go. Unbelievable on defense. No, shut down by Gus. Hexafire taken out. Match point looking for the conversion. It's so close. The respawn from Elven Path is here, but there is no Ancient Rage. It's all looking blue for match point. It's all looking blue for District69. And as soon as the staggers keep unrolling, they should be able to get a conversion. But Wardoom is back. Sheepa comes in, and he's making the plays.
Cutie hitting like a truck. He's taken down. Smidgen falls down as well. Can D69 against all odds stabilize here? Repulsor Field comes out. The respawns are here. It looks like they're going to be able to do it.
And make like Shaolin withdraw is what Matchpoint are saying. I thought that was going through. That should have gone through. But Unbelievable with the unbelievable defensive play. Every member from District69 not going in together, but one by one to extend their contest. And then that repulsor field at the end sealed the deal. It's all tied up at 2-2.
Insane. Shippa I think really he's who I'm pinning this to. Able to turn it around. Taking Cuscuti out was a big factor that Drogos was hitting like a Mack truck, and you can see that Shippa has pulled ahead of Drogos here, 68,000 to 67,000. This is neck and neck in the arms race, and these late game items are really starting to come through. Some luxuries even. You could go so far as to say for D69, going to be favorable positioning themselves with these Master Ridings.
But that is match by match point. Wardoom holding Master Riding 2 and Smidgen Master Riding 1. I feel that's appropriate for Grover. They do die very quickly, although trees not repeated for their movement. Initial point fight breaks out. Wants this rowdy outside. Take a look at Wardoom coming from behind everybody. He's looking for the play, but still nothing really gained.
Fair no, favorable positioning right now. Where is the pressure on this man? Wardoom totally set it out. Dread Serpent's gonna come through to buy the crowd control. First to fall, Dosup's looking to swing things back. The Dosup is going to fall this time.
But that was perfect play from Cassie, buying time for that team. Doesn't matter though, Sheba picks up 2, and District69 advance on the objective. Again, will match point make the turnaround?
To stabilize, they've done it twice now. Can they make it 3? If they give up this capture, D69 have the chance to convert right now. A lot of big streaks for D69, however. Shippa on 7, Unbi on 8. Another Master Riding coming through to reinforce the front line. This zone is just too strong. Match point not really looking like they want to go after this one.
93, 96, no, stalled at 93, it's from behind. Wardoom does it again, comes in, takes out Shippa. Immortal use on the objective. Makoa in Ancient Rage will try and keep it rolling, but match point, they're doing it again. Whirlwind cancelled, but Elven Path has no backup. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. Stolty gets a reversal, reversals a Barrage 2, and takes down Poto for the trade.
Huge trades. Another big note is, while it was canceled out, the Whirlwind Ultimate did get used. Smidgen will not have that available to him. This is going to be neck and neck. 3 members from D69 crawling their way back in, but here comes the Hexafire.
Up in the air, completely unnoticed though, is Cuscuti, drops the damage, takes out 1, but he's stretched into doom. Shut down. Stolzy is left to try and hold this down for their team. Reversal will be good. The planted fires in, but no, he's forced off the objective at the last second. Almost the clutch play. District69 get their first capture of the game and are looking for conversion to win.
Shippa once again in a clutch situation, finding the shots where Stolzy, a couple of clutch misses there onto the support. The Maldamba was able to stay alive. The reversal didn't connect, and Stolzy's life was claimed. Wardoom, though, really switching up the playstyle, and I love it. The backline dive Fernando is here. We see where he gets his name.
I feel like we're playing a bit of a game of hide and seek with Wardoom right now, but it is effective at buying time. It is wasting a lot of time, and in that time, Cuscuti picks up a double kill. Dozups takes down Sheba, who you've got to be scared of, and match point, they've brought themselves back in, and they are looking to make a successful defense.
Getting super aggressive right now, playing a lot of hide and seek in the background, like you mentioned, but it's fine to trade out your life to get District69 to fall so far back. By the time D69 is on this payload, Dosup's respawn is already going to be able to come through. Stolzy trying to pseudo frontline right now with his reversal, but the timing's off, and Shippa again coming in big when it matters most.
Oh, Smidgen did not get around the corner in time, has fallen 2 players down for match point waiting on respawns. The payload once again moving. Unbelievable does not have Hexafire. We've seen that used to convert conversions before. It's up to him to try and charge it before they reach this all-important point. Will he be able to do it? I don't think it's going to matter because Sheba is going off ridiculously.
A lot of zoning coming out from Elven Path right now. Wardoom needs to get back on the payload. Dread Serpent there is going to be able to crowd control, and this payload is itching. It's going to find its way through. D69 staring down match point right now saying, what's good, baby? We up 2-0.
Ridiculous. Right at the end there, I love the Maldamba ultimate. Don't need the Hexafire if nobody can reach the payload because of that hard crowd control. Maybe Resilience, which we talked about earlier, would have been the better pick. But District69, now we at least started to see some grins there. They're feeling a little bit more confident, and there's good reason to suggest why. What a comeback.
Match point still not looking too shook. Dosups stared down Elven Path back, gave him the thumbs up, the nod, saying, okay, we got this. We're not out of this yet. Never tilt, never get shook on land environment. Elven Path bumping up and down in his seat right now, rubbing his little hands, his little Russian hands together.
Taking a big drink of water there as well, but you can see the head nods looking confident. Match point, They're still waiting, they're discussing. They're cool, calm, and collected for the time being. And folks at home, please do remember, this is a best of 5 set, which means that Match Point have one more opportunity to be able to try and bring themselves back in, go for the reverse sweep, and claim their #1 spot coming out of Group A. But they've got a tall order ahead of them.
And they have shown they have the propensity to come back. A lot of good ones there on Frozen Guard, and they're going to need it now more than ever. We can head on over to the scoreboard here to see Cuskey 107k damage, able to take the title away from Shippa there, but just such an impact player though on the Shaolin. It's crazy. He's really kind of emerged.
And here's the difference. Cuskey 107,000 damage, Shippa 105, but look at the eliminations. Cuskey was dealing a lot of damage, which was then all healed up by Jera, who has 107,000 healing. And here's the important factor. You can deal as much damage as you like. If you don't get those killing blows and you don't even manage to zone because of it, then your damage is useless. It's effective damage, which is important here.
You know, I love him like a brother, but the Grover here, I just don't know about it. Outclassed by 70,000 healing. You can look at Maldamba, brings a lot of crowd control to the table. Once Cauterize is online, Grover just doesn't have it. He does bring crowd control in the way of a cripple. But who are you looking to cripple on District 69? None of these characters are particularly slippery.
Not at all, and in this environment, with the amount of healing which Smitchen was able to put out on Grover, I would have preferred to see a Pip pickup. I think that fighting into Makoa and Ruckus, maybe that Evil Mojo, the Polymorph Ultimate, which Pip has as a support, would have been more valuable. But then again, we got to remember that as soon as Elven Path cracks out Ancient Rage, then it's not really going to do a great deal.
Not at all. Like you mentioned, the eliminations very split up right now. Shippa able to confirm a lot of his kills, whereas Cuskey was just finding a lot of poke damage. Gonna head over to the map screen for what could be the final time of the day as District 69 look to close out the series against Match Point.
The stage is set for game number 3. District 69 with 4-2 victories over their opponents of Match Point. Jaguar Falls will be potentially the stage for the final showdown. It's come out a lot today, often fairly late into the map draft, leading us to believe that maybe it's not something which teams want to dive into very early. And again, I'm not so sure. We thought we might see some interesting picks like Kinessa. Really what it seems to come down to is that every single team is just running with what they know works, with the exception of Grover. I do feel like Match Point, they have to try something new, however.
Yeah, Jaguar Falls, not one of those end of the spectrum maps in terms of what type of team comp is going to excel here, but I will say it leans the way of frontliners as the area around the point, and even the spawn is pretty compact as far as the tight corridors. There are a lot of flanking routes as well.
I have one champion, 2 words for you. Bomb King. On Jaguar Falls, you can run out of the way of the Grumpy Bomb, yes, to a degree around the objective capture area, but you've got environmental hazards, you've got a bit of verticality, and with District 69 liking their double frontline setups, who better to initiate a point break than His Majesty himself?
I mean, Doe was on fire with it earlier. I love the pick personally. They've already secured their trip to the semifinals, fighting for seeding right now. With their backs against the wall, could we see a pocket pick strategy come out? Bob King came out a little bit earlier, but it seemed more for style points from Dosubs here. I don't know if he's going to pull it out in the serious situation Match Point now finds themselves in.
I feel like that if you're going to pull it out at any point in time, if you're going to go for that Cinderella story, the reverse sweep, if you're going to go for the style points, if you're going to play for the ego, not for the position, then now is as good a time as any. Anything else that you think we might see on Jaguar Falls?
To touch on Bomb King one more time before we move on here, it could be a good look to pull it out here, because this is where you're going to test the pick. Like, this is the team that is going to test this. Match Point can play it here, try their hardest, and really ask themselves the question, is this pick going to work for us moving forward? Is this something we can lean on? Beyond that, you know, we could see but we haven't seen the Elven Path Buck come out, I don't think, at all today.
I do feel like this is something which has just been dropped off for the most part. Unbelievable picking up Ruckus has been a good move. That means we need a second frontliner for District 69. Elven Path is just filling that role, so no Buck pick necessary, because the flank damage then either comes out of Perdo on Androxus or just doesn't come out at all.
Definitely here. A lot of potential setups. Dread Serpent, Immortals, huge area effect. Ultimate super effective here on Jaguar Falls as they cover most all of the open ground around the point, as well as, you know, some of the flanks, some of the exits as well. So those will be highly contested pick. Wardoom looked extremely good on it, but frankly, Unbelievable's Ruckus was very good as well. And it's a very manageable pick, especially for a substitute player. I don't know how much longer we want to continue to call that. I'm ready to stop sleeping on Unbe personally, but it's very, you know, easily, you know, Elven Path can call for pulsar fields for emitters anytime that he feels ready.
And Unbelievable will also be able to make those decisions themselves if they see a big fire spit or a Lugi incoming, if the Curtis Arm happens, just keeping the team alive. Okay, let's not beat around the bush. We've got a monster to hunt for District 69. Are you expecting to see the Monster Hunter come out today? Again?
Not here.
Not here?
Here. Not
Oh, come
now.
on.
We saw it brought out only.
Would you consider it to be a terrible decision?
Almost as bad as that punt.
Okay.
But all speculation aside, we are going to get into the champion draft here for what could be the final time between D69 and match point. D69 leading 2-0.
Makoa, the first pick, locked in for the team in blue. 2-0 is our set score. Match point must respond. Fernando worked out okay for them previously. Oh, hold that. Okay.
Yeah, troll.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Go on, Solzy, please.
You're
Make
full.
my day. Tyra and
Those
Sky
ups.
hovered.
Look
I
me
do
in the
expect
eye.
this to be swapped to a Fernando, maybe a Ruckus as well. There we go. Fernando locked in as the first frontline pickup for match point, and Ruckus
Okay.
follows suit. Ooh, predictions on point.
I like this here. Match point forcing District 69 to adjust, to draft reactively to them. They're saying, we know your Drogos main isn't with you right now. Pick this the way. D69 almost seemed to taunt match point, daring them to pick Eevee in the last set. We'll see if the Drogos is able to come through match point, looking to create themselves some space to draft with their backs against the wall.
D69 have gone into Charlotte and Mandamba, relatively standard so far from what we've seen. Cassie, hovered, Eevee locked in for match point. They don't want to give that to Sheepa on this map, and Cassie drafted 2, likely going over to Stolzy. Matchpoint have a strong draft so far, only waiting on their support pickup at this point. Now, they could go full supportless, no heals, just full aggression. I think that they'll be waiting now to see if they're going to pull out the Pip
Bitey.
or the Ying. Oh, Bitey in the crowd, he's leaning forward, he's looking excited. Grok is being hovered over. Nope, it will be the Pip pick. I'm sorry, Bitey, that totem just doesn't do enough for District 69. Pip and Androxus locked in as the final 2 picks, and giving that once again to Perdo is going to be a good look on the mobile map of Jaguar Falls.
Ying going to be the selection for match point to help them round out. Unbelievable. I think going to be on this Pip this time, making the switch up to counter match point's comp. Match point have dared them. D69 have accepted the challenge, and Droxus also locked in here. Not going to be a lot of great targets for him, I feel, as Cassie can take the 1v1, especially when it's Dosups in the driver's seat.
We haven't seen Unbelievable on Pip yet today, have we?
We have not.
We are in for a treat, as long as it is Unbelievable who will be playing Pip. They have run a
Gotta
very...
assume.
It's gotta be. It's their signature champion that they've played so much of right from the very start of Paladins. Also makes use of a very curious loadout. There are certain cards in Paladins which are very important in your loadouts. Obviously for Pip, we're looking to reduce the cooldown of Explosive Flask as much as possible so you can apply bonus damage on your following shots. Maybe you can get Acumen Lifesteal following up with that, another card in Pip's kit. But also, Unbelievable likes to be doing a lot of damage on the support champion, so he'll run a card which allows you to reload 3 additional shots when you use Explosive Flask, making it so you never have to let go of left mouse button. And as we do get into game for potentially the final time today, District 69 will kick things off with their draft. Ellenpath, Unbelievable, Perdo, Sheepa, and Jera on the champions we just went through. And of course, their opponents match point are ready to meet them head to head.
Dosups off Ruckus. Fernando will be played by Warden. Smidgen on Eevee. Cuskooty on Ying. Stolzy on Cassie. Without further ado, a bit of an awkward spot, and Drox is forced to another another step out and around the hazard zone. Nice dredge anchor will pull Ying Dimensional Link immediately away.
Look at the headshots coming out of Perdo. So far, it's a good look, but Smidgen kicks things off with a kill onto Unbelievable. Now, no support for District69. They've got Poke, but they don't have Sustain, and Sustain is the name of the game for Matchpoint. 2 Ying illusions on the objective, combined with the Repulsor Field. That's a very tanky composition.
Where's the pressure on Shippa right now from Matchpoint? He's going uncontested in the backline right now. He picked them apart last time. Matchpoint, however, making great progress on this capture point, 84%. They only need a small window here to close out this payload capture.
The respawn did come back through from Unbelievable. However, on the objective, we're sitting on double healing for District69. Matchpoint have to make their way back in. Who's going to lead the charge here? Will it be our Fernando? I think that's going to be the case from the side as well. Dozup's on Ruckus getting ready to advance, but is getting poked out so quickly.
Wow, he is being absolutely shredded, decimated. Great positioning here from Unbelievable. He's content to just lay down the covering fire. And in Matchpoint fashion, District69 making a big comeback on this point. Stolzy giving his life for it. Wardoom gonna continue to hold it down.
But Unbelievable stays alive. Elven Path picks up 2. 96% for Matchpoint. In comes Ruckus, but the reload stun from Aldama. They're forced away, straight back in. Get over here, says Elven Path. Overtime is ticking, and it's looking like it's going to be District that take the lead.
Very, very close, however, here from District69. Gave up a lot of point control early, able to swing it back in the later stage of that fight, and Smidgen's gonna go down. Elven Path with a great dredge anchor to pull him in. Ultimate starting to come online for D69. Accursed Arm, Evil Mojo, and Ancient Rage.
Speaking of Evil Mojo, check out the itemization for Dozup's and Wardoom really quickly. They're going into Resilience to reduce the duration of crowd control. They do know, and Polymorph is about ready to be used, potentially for a conversion here. Big opportunity, but Unbelievable has great trigger discipline and holds on, waiting until the payload gets closer to conversion because they know they don't have much time.
A bit of a rough spot now. Gonna be able to get around the corner, however, doesn't need that weightless online trading out kill for kill. Shippa gonna fall. That's a big pickup for Matchpoint. He's been ripping them apart from the backline. Someone's got to find a way to pressure him out. If they don't have any dedicated flank pressure on him right now, I am looking at Smidgen.
Oh no, but speaking of flanks, Birdo comes from behind, cleans up Dozups, and is looking for more. Polymorph comes through onto Fernando. Unbelievable, takes out Wardoom immediately. Birdo is sitting on the cursed arm up into the air. Here it comes. Cassie round the corner will be blasted. Only a slither of health remaining in the headshot to finish. That's way too much to deal with. Payload looking towards conversion, but here comes an ice storm.
Closer and closer into the payload. A lot expended from District69 to go for this, but a lot of tankiness has returned from Spawn. Perdo very, very low. Doesn't have anyone to hit with that reversal. He's going to take a spill. Hexafire coming out. Dosup's laying down the law.
Unbelievable on the outside, trying to stay alive. Is being melted by Fernando here and will fall to Wardoom, but still 45 seconds left on the clock. One more push opportunity as Shippa appears to have reached a bit of an impasse here with Fernando. Oh my goodness, that impale!
Going down immediately. 36 seconds still remain on the payload. Pip telling him just what he needed. This could be what District69 needed as they look to make their final closing push against Matchpoint.
But only Heat Haze is available. Hold it. Planted coming through. Dread Serpent will be used as well. Immortals to counter. Nobody from Matchpoint is going down. Perdo is sitting and waiting, however. And with Dozups picking up Unbelievable, it's going to be close. I think Matchpoint, they still are going to hold him. But a nice stun allows Shippa to take out Smidgen. It's icing on the cake. Will Shippa make it in time? We are in overtime. Planted will allow Wardoom to be shut down by Jera. Oh my goodness, can they pull out the Wonder Story here?
That would be absolutely an insane comeback. Getting crowd control right now. Dosups doesn't have anywhere to go. Pinned to the wall, quite literally here. Shippa is going to fall. Elven Path trying to stabilize for his team. Get this payload converted.
Oh my goodness, from behind again, Cuscuti trying to contest on Ying is shut down, but Fernando, Wardoom is holding the fort for the team, waiting for respawns as a payload is touching the conversion point. Repulsor Field chickens do stay alive. The Resilience keeps everybody up as they come out of the Polymorph, and all of a sudden it is looking like match point may be able to hold, but Cheaper is trying to turn that one around. Double kill, triple kill for Shaolin, trying to find the quadra kill, but Bono steals it away, and the payload pushes through.
Absolutely everything expended from both teams trying to stabilize their District 6. That was one of the longest overtimes I think I have ever seen.
Since we had that ridiculous Eevee meta where she just used to blink in and off the objective and keep on taking it over and over again, the resilience pickup worked, though. I think that's what's crucial. Rank 2 for Dozups and Wardoom came online, allowed them to stay alive through Polymorph. There's just a bit too much pressure from the District, but I love the strategy, and if it comes into play again a second time, match point won't be caught so off guard.
Shippa is tearing them apart on the damage charts right now. Cuskootie keeping his team in it, but these guys, these rounds are so long and they're getting so many credits here that there's almost always cauterized twos online, multiples for both teams, and these healers really get shut down in the second round.
Scout will be activated to kick things off by Solzy, looking to reveal all enemies. And match point, they're being very cautious here, just Tringle capturing on the objective, and that's exactly why. Smidgen blinks in, gets stunned, but Wardoom comes to the rescue. Nice defensive play.
Resilience is coming into play hugely here. Perdo is as well. There's a nice dredge anchor into the Maldamba stun. Gonna buy some time. Dosup's pinned in a corner between a rock and a hard place. He stays alive for now, but then falling shortly after.
Perdo will be waiting around a corner. Unbelievable. In the back line, just cleaning up Wardoom, who is a bit out of their depth. And Illusion's being eliminated by the Pip player. The support currently for District 69, but it doesn't matter. Smidgen and Stolzy look to clean up the blue team. 89% and climbing. It's match point through and through.
Zone, zone, zone right now is going to be the name of the game. Match point, get it done. Capture the payload there. 2 big kills to keep everything staggered from D69. Stolzy, when he finds a flank, he's been relatively quiet this game. Not too many insane plays coming out of him, but just solid stuff throughout. Cuskootie forced into Dimensional Link early, and he is still under pressure. 55 HP, but Stolzy's got his back for now.
Oh, an unbelievable look in the wrong direction, or did they? As Elven Path comes to the rescue. Wardoom taken out too. This payload push isn't going anywhere, and match point, they'll be waiting on respawns, giving District 69 the opportunity to breathe.
You know, I didn't think I'd be saying Ruckus was such a big playmaker here. I never thought I'd be talking about resilience, but here we are. I really think once these level 3 resiliences, 90% crowd control reduction for Dosups and for Wardoom come through, it's going to be really a struggle for D69 to keep the picks rolling in the way that they have been in the past.
Drag Serpent comes out, but it's not enough. Into the back will be the Hexafire. Dozups picks up 3, tries to find Androxus, who is forced another step away. Match point crack the base of District 69 wide open and are looking for conversion. Very aggressive Cassie play now from Stolzy as they're trying to hold down the line of sight.
And note here the clock. So much time. They have time to spare, time to wipe if it's even necessary. Not looking like it's going to be that way though. Cuskootie falling lower and lower. Smidgen with the first kill in this engagement. Immortaldom from Wardoom's going to keep everyone alive.
And the Polymorph chickens are still going. Unbe falls to Wardoom as well. Elven Path tries to hold on the front line. Ancient Rage was used and Perdo is picking up kills. Blue team, District 69 have held through that onslaught, but still so close to conversion and one last opportunity to push.
I would love to see if we can swap to the items real quick here to see if Doe and Wardoom are going to be able to get the Resilience 3s online. It's going to be so important coming down to the wire here with all this crowd control. Smidgen eats a dredge anchor, but Elven Path got stunned at the exact same time, so it gets canceled out for the time being. Match point just trying to find a way to break the base.
Cuskootie, probably not the best player you want frontlining that. Playing a Ying, playing a support, not in the ideal position, but Unbelievable is in the ideal position to pick up Stolzy. Look at this elevation, allowing Pip to capitalize on their AoE damage and drop heals from afar. A little bit difficult on the bridge, but they're still able to drop so much damage on their opponents. With that dredge anchor cleaning up Dozups, it's looking like this will be a successful defense. District 69 about ready to hold at 3-1 match point.
That's not good. Giving up those conversions in round 1 gives you a ton of room to work with. D69 going to benefit from that defense point here, but now they're in a position they need to capture a point if they're going to close out this game. Match point have to hold here. No Resilience 3s online just yet. No level 3 items for match point here. And, you know, is it coming into play now that Dosips and Wardoom don't have this late game mitigation online? Is the resilience going to be worth it?
Potentially, if it's all about the ultimates, but District69 can play around that. Okay, we've got the ultimates. Let's use them on the players that aren't going to be reducing the duration of crowd control. Smidgen, Coscuti, Stolzy take out the damage and then mop up the tanks afterwards, but you'll need a pretty heavy mop for that. There is a lot of health to chew through. Let's kick things off with initial poke coming out of Unbelievable as a big flank is coming out of Makoa.
Match point split up right now. This is risky if it doesn't pay off. Wardoom is in the back line by himself. Finds one. Smidgen with a long-range artillery shot. Finds two. Wardoom now going down.
Double kill for Smidgen as they manage to pick up Unbelievable too. Jarrah will respond. The nice stun comes through. Elven Path capitalizes, takes out Stolzy. Meanwhile, Matchpoint are set up with double illusions and Ruckus on the objective. 60% climbing. Elven Path must contest.
Cauterize online. Jarrah can't heal as much as he could, but can still bring that crowd control. Red Serpent comes through. A Cursed Arm is online. Double kill for Perdo in the back line. Unbe finds one as well. 66 to 42 on the capture objective. D69 taking control.
We talk about Stolzy, God Stolzy of Paladins, but one of the Godslayer, Perdo, 16 and 7 currently ready to make the plays. We've equalized capture objective. Matchpoint are about to be shut out in the 3-0 sweep, but onto the objective they come. And here's the polymorph capitalization through. And District69, oh my goodness, the resilience though, it keeps them alive.
Wardoom's trying to stave off the damage with the Immortal Falls soonly after the duration, and Dosa finding one onto Perdo. Unbelievable, trying to stay alive. Overtime is ticked through for Matchpoint. They could hang on here. No one sees Elven Path though. He's so close to being dead. Smidgen takes him out. Unbelievable is getting in there, and Shippa now returns.
Watch out for that planted, but it's Jarrah who makes the plays. Wardoom cleans up Unbe. It's 90 to 99%. Pretty much neck and neck at this point as Wardoom is being pressured out. Shippa landing some shots, but everybody steps off. Matchpoint don't go down. They get the capture for the payload and keep themselves in this game, still holding on, clinging on for dear life.
You cannot break Matchpoint mentally. They will claw their way back into this match if District69 give them any room to do so. 2 minutes remain on the clock. D69 will not benefit from a defense point here. The rounds will continue. We will see another round of play regardless of outcome.
At this point, I feel though the match point they have to equalize here. They've got to match 3-3 on the scoreboard, otherwise it's 2 more captures and they cannot have another 2 captures that close neck and neck. Again, it's not safe enough. It's too much wiggle room, but Stolzy goes in trying to make the plays.
Absolutely, and you can see that late game mitigation starting to come into effect. Elven Path was so caught out there, but still took so long to kill Wardoom in the back line right now. That Resilience 3 starting to come into effect right now. You see those Maldamba stuns just aren't lasting as long. It's absolutely insane how this card has just come into its own, come into have such an outlandish effect here in this game. This heavy crowd control composition drafted from D69 is being mitigated so masterfully by Matchpoint.
I can't believe it today. We've seen Illuminate, we've seen Tyra, we've seen Sky, we've seen Grover, and now we're seeing Resilience, which arguably is the most effective pickup we've seen all day. And it's funny because I was talking to some of the devs a little while ago saying that when Maldamba Noodle Stunlock build first came out, they started picking up Resilience. It was working really well. I didn't think we'd see it because the players value damage, mitigation, or reduction so much. But here we are at the Hi-Rez Expo Paladins Invitational stage. It's working.
It absolutely is one of the less common items in Paladins here, and Rainday's a big fan of this one, near and dear to his heart, and he always likes to rub it in my face once these items start to become meta, and I'm sure I'm gonna get a mouthful after this one. I see him pointing to me right now. I know it's coming.
I completely believe it. Me too as well, and I often ping questions over and get a shrewd reply and saying, you'll see, just you wait and see. Same thing with Ruckus as well. I never thought we'd see Ruckus on a world stage, but again, here we are.
I mean, it's a safe way to bet, right? You can preach it till the cows come home, but they're eventually gonna come home, and you can just say I was right all along here. But this is absolutely a lightning charged match from Matchpoint and D69 right now. I can't give it to anyone convincingly here. Right when you think D69 have it under control, Matchpoint just take it back.
Right, at the last capture objective that we just saw, Polymorph comes through. You think that the frontliners are going to be shut down, but Resilience pops up, Immortal comes out, everybody stays alive, and then giving up the capture by stepping off in overtime, and that diminishing return reset comes into play. That's a tough cookie to deal with. So match point is 3-2 in favor of District69. As I said, I feel like they've got to make the conversion here, but how are they going to go about achieving that?
I agree. It puts them in a tough spot, especially when so much was spent to get the capture initially here. They're going to have to use most of this round recharging their ultimates. I mean, we saw one hell of an overtime in the previous round. It took 3-4 waves of respawns, 2 rounds of ultimates to break that last 10 feet of match point. I don't see District69 being any less sturdy on defense.
Feels like they're just throwing things at the wall here at this point with the amount of ultimates we're seeing go one after another used right at the end of the round. This is so uncharacteristic of what we're used to in Paladins, but in a LAN meta, in a LAN environment, on a world stage, anything can happen. It's quite remarkable. Jaguar Falls is where it all could end for match point, but they're looking for that Cinderella story opportunity. And we talked about earlier how they're a team based on momentum. Once they start winning, they just keep on winning. So picking themselves up here could be big, and that's going to fracture District69's confidence just a little bit. They've never been contested at LAN.
It's tough to get a read on these guys sometimes when they are so quiet. District69 just looking stoic, almost like Team QG. They break a smile every once in a while, but match point, you know, so mentally tough here. They're really being tested as far as how far can these guys push before they break in. How will they react to a loss, more importantly, in this situation?
It's going to be tough if that comes down to it, but the game isn't over just yet. We come down to this conversion, potentially 1 to 2 more capture objectives. We know that the polymorph just isn't working at this point, but it does bait out Immortal quite well. District69 have the opportunity to capitalize on that right now, so potentially should we see some more hesitant and cautious play come out of them instead of the usual kind of aggressive style that we're used to seeing?
You bring up a great point here. With these resiliences online, Unbe doesn't want to bait his team into overcommitting because Matchpoint, Wardoom, and Dosups are likely the targets, but they're going to pop out of these chickens very quickly. You know, I said 90% crowd control reduction, but Evil Mojo has a minimum capped duration at 2 seconds, so it is still a surmountable amount of time. They're going to pop out of it, though. D69 likely will be very excited to try and get these kills. The blood, they can smell it, but if they overextend, Matchpoint is going to punish it.
And I think what's also important is that you made this remark earlier about players hearing Evil Mojo coming. There is an audio cue, and utilizing Repulsor Field beforehand, that was definitely something which we encountered as I saw chickens surrounded by those bubbles. 50% damage reduction, that's very difficult to deal with at times.
Very much so, and Repulsor Field so important for those chickens to keep them alive. Like you mentioned, you can see the visual cue. It looks kind of like an energy field type of bubble around the chickens, keeping them safe, and the Immortal likely to follow up after. But when it's not available, I mean, it's going to spell doom and gloom for Matchpoint.
That was what was just holding right on at the edge, but then again, the Immortal is coming through, and well, that's what really tells the story. District69 versus Matchpoint. Are Matchpoint as immortal as they made themselves out to be? Or are the LAN champions from the previous LAN stage going to come out on top? That's something which we're still yet to find out.
It's going to be a very interesting question here. You know, win or lose. How do both of these teams bounce back? Matchpoint after talking a big game. D69, if they lose, they were up so heavily. Do they go on tilt after this? They've shown a great flexibility in their champion pool. A great flexibility in just in-game adapting is so important in Paladins, especially as these items come out to counter. You gotta counter, you gotta fight back. You cannot be knocked out. You know, you can't have your feet cut out from under you with one punch.
It's certainly a back and forth as that mid-match adaptation through itemization, through play style, through loadouts. Once you see who's playing who on the team, there are so many little intricacies that we can get in and out of with Paladins, but ultimately, sometimes it just comes down to raw skill, raw aim, and what I think is going to be important, you said Evil Mojo, minimum polymorph duration. Can District69 capitalize on that duration, use some of their ultimates like a Cursed Arm and get a shutdown kill onto an all-important frontliner, or will Matchpoint be able to hold on?
Stolze, I feel, has been relatively quiet in this game, not calling out his name too much, not a lot of big team fight ultimate coming from him. He's only got Scout on the Cassie. It's all about finding the angles for him, but D69 oftentimes looking impenetrable, calling out Shippa, I feel. On the flip side, we're calling his name a lot, saying no more pressure needs to be applied to Shippa. He has had absolute lights out performances in almost every game of every set today.
We're so used to seeing them on Eevee, who gets up close and personal, has that mobile blink playstyle, playing from very far back on Shaolin now, expecting Eevee to come in. And one thing that I've noticed is that they play such a good Shaolin versus Eevee. Do you think this knowledge comes from their ability to play Eevee, or do they just adapt this well to every situation?
I think it's being able to see inside the mind of these Eevee players. You know, it's a very pattern-based character, which is where, you know, teams like Burrito have a lot of strengths with it because they have two guys that can play it at such a high level with very different patterns and play styles. It keeps their enemies on their toes.
And Burrito, that's the first seed coming out of Europe, who is in Group B that we will be seeing tomorrow in the Group B stages. I'm very excited for that. It contains the teams Burrito, Iga, the wildcard Abyss from the side of Oceania and Nocturnes. But for the time being, I just want to break to you that we did encounter a spectator issue, and due to technical difficulties, we had to finish this game without being able to bring it to you live. But we do want to congratulate the team in green. Match point, hold on, and they're looking like they have a way back into this.
Clawing their way back, never going down a fight. Match point remaining
never gonna give you up.
Broken, never gonna let you down, never gonna run. Anyway, match point still with the flags on the
keep
PCs.
Going.
They are looking very confident right now. I like how this communication is still happening, though. It's not frantic, but it looks confident. It looks like things are starting to fall into place. They're starting to figure it out. They're starting to chip away at D69, whereas if we look at them, it's not a lot of communication going on. They're kind of, you know, looking around at each other, trying to figure things out. You know, this is when being up 2-0 and then losing, it can be a huge momentum swing, and D69 have got to bounce back and fast.
As we've said, District69 uncontested at LAN, 3-0 sweeps in best of 5 sets for the time being. At DreamHack, now encountering difficulty. That's going to take a bit of the wind out of their sails, but not just that. Match point, they're going to be feeling strong from this as well. And one point I want to touch on for District69 specifically is that unbelievable. They had their pocket pick. Of Pip. That's a bit of a tongue twister there, and it got counted out entirely. That leaves District69 feeling a little bit uncomfortable potentially.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, right? Because that was a big decision for Matchpoint to make. You know, foregoing that built-in 30% mitigation late game on the Haven. We saw it was doing work for Elvapath. He was caught out for what felt like 5 to 10 seconds, and it still just took so long to chew through all of that HP. Matchpoint, they've really shown that they have the ability to make the tough decisions, when to let payloads go, when to go for conversions, when to pick up the tough items that are really, really situational.
I feel like at this point, though, and you remarked on Makoa, who just didn't die, Makoa feels like the honey badger of Paladins. He just don't care. He just stays alive, but didn't stay alive for long enough in the end. With that in mind, Matchpoint, they found something that worked, but it wasn't anything different in the draft that we've not seen previously. It was a difference in itemization, just demonstrating why that is such an important factor in Paladins and how you can adaptively counter your opponent at their every move. I love it.
Firing on all cylinders, everything coming into play in these high-level series. Loadouts, itemization, draft is so important when, you know, for all intents and purposes, the skill, the aim is more or less equal across all these guys. So much strategy comes into this, and, you know, Matchpoint have guys that have played shooters. They've got guys that have played MOBAs. They are strong on all of these fronts in this hybrid type of environment that they are now placed in. They're really shining.
I hear they have guys that have played the action MOBA. You know, it's a game called Smite. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but I hear that there's something going on here at this event today that might be relating to that. It's something about the main stage.
Yeah, over on the main stage, the Smite World Championship is taking place, and there have been some electric series as well there. We saw a Latin American team upset one of the North Americans. It was bound to happen eventually. Hasn't happened yet in Paladins, but you never know what could happen tomorrow.
Well, as you said, we've got a LATAM team playing tomorrow, Nocturnes Gaming. We'll see if they can throw a spanner in the works. But also tomorrow is going to be the other wildcard team, Abyss from Oceania, mainly Australia, who looked so strong within their region and was largely discounted by other teams from the rest of the world, came here to scrim in North America and looked very strong, but we'll have to catch up with that tomorrow for the Group B stage. For the time being, we're ready to go back to our map drafting for game number 4 of this best of 5 set, number 6 of the Group A stages.
Whew. Oh boy, Ice Mines. Don't have to wait to the end of this series to see that. This is the first time that a series has gone to game 4 today, so both teams going to be forced to pull out everything. And, you know, if you're in Group B, this is a time to take notes when both of these strong teams have their backs up against the wall. What do they do? How can you break them under pressure? If I'm Burrito, if I'm Abyss, if I'm Eager, I am taking notes right now.
Well, basing this off what we've seen previously in competitive play, you pick Fernando, you take Master Riding 3, and you've got to go fast. You surprise the entire enemy team with a quad fireball, dealing 3,000 damage immediately, which can be very tasty on Ice Mines. And let's relate into that a little bit. Ice Mines brings a new dynamic to the champion itemization, shall we say. You're very far away with the spawn point from the objective and the payload push as well, so Master Riding for increased mount speed is very important. But whether they can utilize that or not is a different question for the time being. Let's head through to our champion drafting and see who will take an initial advantage in our mind games.
One step closer to the game unfolding. Match point hovering the Fernando. You mentioned such an impact pick on Ice Mines, and Wardoom, I think, is going to be more than happy to pick up the Master Riding and get to the backline. He loves to get aggressive. He loves to mix things up and put the pressure on characters that traditionally just aren't used to it.
Well, that was fast. District69 in response. They go with Makoa. They go with Ruckus, and based on Unbelievable's previous performance on Ruckus, I feel that that's the safest option. They don't want to let this come down to the wire. District69 are wanting to close out in 4 games, not 5, where they could potentially lose this set. In response, match point, Charlene and Cassie, the Bow brother and sister, shall we say. Cassie, with her recent remodel to a crossbow, is going to be firing away, maybe up close and personal. Charlene from range. How will D69 respond?
You know, whether the match not have it in their heads or not, Shaolin, a great pick to take away from Shippa. And if you're going to take away Shaolin or Eevee, I would lean towards taking away the Shaolin because I feel that match point just play it better when compared to the Eevee. Cassie, pretty solid on every composition, in every lineup. There's always someone that can play this.
District69 did counter with Maldanva and Androxus. The Maldanva, relatively normal as a staple pick at this point in competitive play. Androxus 2 probably going through to Perdo. We've seen him demonstrate his skill. Match point, you mentioned Eevee earlier. They get both, but now they've elected for Pip as well. Hold that thought. What's that I see on the right-hand side of my screen? Ooh, Your Majesty.
Give your king a big hug for District69. Eevee taken away as well for match point, taking the Pip as well, so Unbe likely to be on the Ruckus this time around. A nice draft against the double frontline composition from District69, but do D69 just go straight back into the Resilience, counter this out? You know, we could have seen the Drogos come out from Cuscuti.
Potentially, but remarking on Resilience, I don't think that's going to be a priority pick this time. You know, you've got a lot of mitigation here, and if you time your King Bomb ultimate correctly, you can just blow all of that away. It's going to be interesting to see how District69 itemize, however. We know that Bomb King is great at killing shields, but there's not much healing coming out from Pip. I do feel like they have a very easy and clear path of what to go to, but there's a great AoE and direct damage split coming out of match point, which will force D69 to make some very tough decisions.
Yeah, they're, you know, for the first time forced to decide between not only Haven and Blast Shields, but the Resilience pickup as well to get rid of all that crowd control. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, game number 4 between Match Point and District69.
We've said their names already. We'll say them again. Match point from the left-hand side of your screen. The blue team with Wardoom, Cuscuti, Dozeup, Stolzy, and Smidgen on Fernando, Pip, Cassie, Shaolin, and Eevee.
A couple of wreckers coming out from Match Point right now. Dozeup and Stolzy looking to blast through a lot of the shield, but frankly, there's not that much on at District69. Makoa and Ruckus don't have the greatest of shields, but spotting out early on the high flank overpass kind of mix things up.
Oh, that planted though. The Impaler arrow onto Makoa keeps Eevee safe. The retreat comes through from match point. First blood goes through to Dozups, and now Podo is forced to retreat. Round from the back comes Wardoom, but Dozups is uncontested in the backline.
Kira finding the big spill there in the backline. Smidgen finds Perdo as well. Match point, take control of this initially. This is going to be a very staggered respawn. If they can clean up Unbelievable, he's trying to find the retreat, and it looks like he will for now, falling so low, but now just falling. Long range shot from Cuscutie is going to be good. The zone could be deadly from match point. It is so dangerous to get staggered on Ice Mines.
Zoning is the name of the game, but also make like Shaolin and withdraw here. We see Androxus dive onto the objective. Reversal is up to keep everybody safe. Ruffy Bomb provides some zone for District69 as well as they look to recap this objective, but nobody is focusing Dozups on their legendary Cassie. Jera about to fall to the Bloodshot auto combo. Elven Path pulls danger straight in close. Is Unbelievable enough to hold down this front line? Let's find out as Dozups is trying to survive.
Hiding around, laying down shots. He's going to be spotted out. Narrowly escapes right now. If he falls, this is going to be such a staggered respawn. This is very bad for match point. He gets spotted out and collapsed on in the back line. Dozups taking a key spill in a very, very clutch situation here. Match point need to find their way back. I mean, District69 has done it before. Can match point swing back?
Potentially. One thing, though, that did go unnoticed, has gone unchecked for quite some time, is going to be Dozups Cassie. So, we talked about it a lot a little while ago. It was definitely something which we used to see a lot of, but had recently fallen out, going primarily to Stolzy through recent tournaments, and now sitting on Cassie back with the Hunter's Daughter in their hands with their recent visual rework, their recent visual remodel. Dozups still feels quite at home here.
Yeah, he just caught in a rough spot. It was good positioning. It was a nice pincer maneuver, potentially, that could have been pulled off, but just falling a little bit short was match point, and then it puts Dozups in a rough spot, and you know, nothing against him. That's the situation where you might need to make one of those tough calls where you need to feed, you need to just run in there, you need to die, you need to get back with your team ASAP, because every second counts. Ice Mines is certainly a game of inches.
And that's a min-max sort of strategy, which a lot of teams
Very
will do.
much
It's,
so.
okay, we've got our respawns. Do we want to sit here and drag it out? No, let's go back together as a group. Let's all just suicide on the point. Let's be lemmings. Let's jump off the map just to get ourselves back together as a team so we can push through at full HP. Although there is risk with that strategy as well. Coming back from a spawn, you're at risk of being dismounted and reaching the point late and taking a lot of zoning poke at the same time. And match point in that game, we're running a Pip who has that AoE dismount potential. It's a bit of risky business.
Yeah, Cuscutie played it very well, found a very long-range pick onto Unbelievable that I thought was going to be the end of that point contest coming from District69, but he was able to find his way back to the point there. Cuscutie was able to find his way back to the point as well. In the end, it's D69, though. The mitigation is really coming through in a big way from Unbe. He's really coming into his own on this ruckus.
Nick, I just have to say this. You should know by now, it's not over till it's Grover.
There's another one for you, ladies and gentlemen. The man can't be stopped. Never runs out of puns.
I feel like I'm going to be thrown off the stage at this point. Like, literally thrown off. Just get out of here. Get the puns away. I've been hanging out with Target too much recently. But for the time being, we are just waiting for a technical difficulty to be resolved with the teams. You can see our admins hard at work, trying to figure out exactly what's going on and get us back into the game as quickly as possible. Such a nail-biter of a series. Matchpoint still looking for that Cinderella story, and District69 are starting to fracture.
Absolutely here. Looking like they're ready to get back in game. Ladies and gentlemen, straight back into the action. Without further ado, the point looks like it has gone the way of District69. They were able to find that first point capture here. Match point looking to hold.
Maybe not as broken at the seams as I thought, but Matchpoint are coming back in strong, and this is important. Initial payload control going through to the defending team on Ice Mines makes it very, very difficult for the attackers to push through. There's great opportunity to zone. District69, though, they're grouping up together and they're getting ready to push. I like Matchpoint's decision to just get out of the area and let them push through.
Matchpoint trying to hold here. Dozups finding one clutch shot there up onto the high ground. Mortal Isn't yet available to save anyone's life. Nice impale into the wall, though, deep in the back line. Elven Path finds himself pinned to the wall.
He finds the Elven Path back to base. Does up though, picks up 2 with successive shots. Looking for a third. Nope, that goes to Stolzy. The double comes through. The Bode twins coming out strong. With 1 minute and 23 seconds left on the payload push, it's barely moved out of its spawn.
Stolzy looking really strong on this shot lane right now. Pops the heat haze, want to get the aggressive zone going. Not just that, he's going to take a couple of people with him. Shippa on the back line picks up Dosup. Stolzy raging forward with Wardoom at his side.
2 down, Wardoom cleans up a third in the back line. Cuskcutie takes down Sheepa, who was trying to backdoor capture this payload. Elven Path made it through, but they're like a fish out of water, a turtle out of water with no backup. Shell spinning towards where they think their team might be coming from, and Stolzy's just waiting at this point for the opportunity to strike. Takes them out. 45 seconds remain. District69 is staggered, and it doesn't look like they're going to solve that issue in time.
Stunned against the wall was Elven Path, now staggered, similar to how Dosups was in the previous situation. Nice stun onto Doe. He's able to get onto the low ground, rolling around, kiting this ruckus. One more dodge roll coming out, seeing Cassie's mobility come into full effect here. Can he keep this up? Dosups rolling around like a madman.
What incredible kiting play come through from the Cassie Grandmaster himself. Dozups, the granddaddy of the Hunter's daughter, showing you how this champion was meant to be played. Look at that Chronos item in their loadout as well. This is the playstyle they're going for, and they are so fantastic with it.
Yep, that item looking to just smooth out those cooldowns between rolls, so Dosups can always have a very strong hold. Coming from Mass Point, fist bumping each other. They're ready to keep this going. Net worth still in favor of District69, however.
Well, net worth will be counted out as we get onto the next capture objective. Dozups did have 800 credits available to them. They might elect to go into Chronos 2 for that instant cooldown dodge roll reset. I feel like their item choice is going to be so imperative during this time, but look at the amount of credits which the rest of Match Point were able to achieve. Smidgen going straight into a Haven 2 here. Dozups has Chronos 2. This Cassie is going to make you motion sick.
Yeah, the net worth not really going to spell too much of a distance here. Healing is definitely in favor of District69, but this is to be expected as we get to those Cauterized 2. Wardoom's already got Cauterized 2 online, so it's going to be about what can these supports bring outside of the healing.
Well, hopefully some support, but oh no! Dredge Anchor starts things off, but pulled into a wall. Will be the Fernando. Polymorph came out, no kills still despite all that, but it's a Dread Serpent which starts things off as Poto picks up 1. The Hexafire starts to tear through enemies. Unbelievable's looking for opponents to frag, but Dozups finds 2 for a return kill. Immortal used by Wardoom. Who's gonna come out on top?
Indicating so much. Dosups finally goes down. Stolzy goes down. Wardoom goes down. District69 with another strong payload contention coming out. About to move north of 50 points. Smidgen can't afford to go down here. Getting so staggered from the rest of his teammates. Big reversal onto the high ground. D69 are looking strong on offense.
And there we go. Elven Path dives through to provide some initial zone. Let's check out Sheepa as they poppy bomb enemies backwards, saying, "You shall not pass." Uncontested capture on the return. District69, 2-1, are now pressing out aggressively, and they're looking for the opportunity to push through as much ground as possible before the respawns come back through.
A stretch anchor on to Cuskcutie. 3 ultimates available for District69. Dread Serpent was just used. Hexafire was as well. Shippa laying down some good poke. Grumpy bomb to zone out and shut down this flank. He's going to force Match Point out of the alleyway.
Dozups is ready and waiting, however, the dodge roll cooldown reset misses. They're like a sitting duck and taken out very quickly. Wardoom does make things happen on the backline, however, and that is the support for District69. Eliminated Jera, not having a good game. 1-8-2, that's a lot of deaths for somebody who's normally so survivable.
They're giving up a lot of precious distance on this payload push, however. Wardoom's going to mix it up with Ruckus, but Ruckus just so tanky is finally going to fall as those mitigations have now worn off. A minute and 30 seconds remaining on the payload.
Your Majesty, we await you, but the rollout is long. Pipsies are coming, Weightless is away. No equity gain from the ultimate coming out of Sheepa's Bomb King. Not available for the next capture objective or even the next fight. And with a minute and 12 seconds left, realistically, District69, they've got 1 more push left in them.
Frankly, a big swing and a miss from Shippa's Bomb King there. Misses the ultimate, gives up a pick for free. A minute still remaining. 4 and 8 on this Bomb King. Shippa really starting to struggle for the first time today.
And that's the first time which we've seen Shippa play Bomb King in a while. Not a meta pick, coming out as a wild card here. And at 4, 8, and 2, they're not having the best of games. You've got to be able to capitalize on those ultimates. And even if they'd hit a stun, where was the follow-up going to come from in that environment?
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Grumpy Bomb is going to come out the zone. Cuskitty's going to walk into it. No follow-up. Appears to be coming through, but they're now starting to smell the blood in the support water. Now Cuskitty taking a spill.
Stolzy is getting forced backwards. Dozups and Wardu both electing to retreat rather than fall in this environment. But Dozups will be taken out by Shippa. He's heard what we've had to say about his Bomb King, and he's mad. 15 seconds left. This one's going to be an overtime push. Can Perdo find the kills on the top side? Let's find out. With support in hand, it's going to come down to the wire.
Grumpy Bomb comes out, create that high zone. There's the evil mojo, there's the accursed arm. All the cards are on the table. Peridot finds two, Cuskitty finds two. Overtime ticking through, still a long ways to go. Grumpy Bomb is going to be eaten by Cuskitty once again.
Oh my goodness, Shippa coming into play. That zone from Grumpy, massive now, sticking bombs. The objective finds the detonation, but Stolzy will survive. Who's going to contest in overtime? Nobody is around. Smidgen has taken out Jared though, and Wardu has returned immortal, but it's too far away. Still, match point, hold on, 2 kills from Smidgen, and it is neck and neck around the objective.
Peridot needs to be taken out here. He's so low, they find the conversion. That is huge for District69 on Ice Mines. Not where you want to be for match point. Those conversions are so hard to come by, give you so much margin for error moving forward. Now D69 just need to pick up one more capture point, and they will close out the set.
Elvin Path, meanwhile, on Makoa, sitting relatively high up in the net worth chart. Second, in fact, has elected to go into Master Riding 3. A big credit commitment, but if they find an early dredge anchor, something which is certainly worth it, as everything could come down to this last capture objective.
Yep, these ultimates going to be online in a big way for D69 as well. Hexafire, Ancient Rage, and Dread Serpent. Really all they need, the setup and the firepower from D69. If the zone is going to be good enough, one team fight could be all they need. Heat Haze and Ice Storm. There will be some nice setup, but not a lot to drive it home if you're match point.
Elvin Path actually took a peculiar route round out of spawn. They didn't find the avenue they were looking for. One straight into Smidgen, straight into 4. Misplays coming through from the team in red. Hexafire and Dread Serpent Utah, and Unbelievable is trying to capitalize on that, but gets shut down by Dozups.
Dozups has to go big here. 1 stick from Shippa, 2 sticks from Shippa, and it's going to be good. Stolzy tries to go for the impale, doesn't quite get it done. King Bomb still on the table, a lot still in the tank for District69. No one taking a convincing win in the team fight just yet, but match point have a long way to climb back from spawn. Wardu really can't afford to go down here, or this is going to be District69's cap, I feel.
But Wardoom is not going to be sitting on Immortal. Ancient Rage used by Elvin Path to chase down backline targets. Grumpy Bomb, King Bomb, every single bomb comes out of Bomb King. Shippa looking for the zone play. A stun comes through onto Stolzy. He's not going to make it through to the objective without taking a lot of hurt. And we are in overtime. District69 poised to take it all. Will they be able to achieve it? Overtime ticks down. District69 take game 4 and win the last set of the day.
Both teams clapping. Match point still with a smile on their face. They're happy about it. They're not upset about their performance. I'm sure they wanted the win. Elvin Path chanting, pumping his fist. D69 cracking some big smiles.
And well deserved. What a comeback performance from match point, but what a solidification of District69's skill right there at the end. A great defense, a great conversion. Magnificent for the final capture.
Absurd. A lot of sportsmanship coming out from both of these teams right now. These are guys that have been playing together for a long time. A lot of friends, good buddies here. It's not over for either team by any means here. Match point will just move into the semifinals as the second seed out of Group A here. D69 going to take the top spot, securing themselves the easiest road potentially to the finals.
And so for the last time today, let's take a look at the final scoreboard here. And it's about as close as it gets. All of the stats, with the exception of objective time going to Unbelievable, who again, I'm sure is actually glued to the payload. At this point, I think he's playing Ruckus and Bolt a lot. So Ruckus is sort of, maybe the payload is magnetic, he's actually stuck to it. 197 seconds of objective time spent there, but the eliminations are very close indeed.
Absolutely, you could say he's bolted to it. You know, trying to get in the pun game
Okay,
as well.
okay, I'll allow it. I appreciate that. I'm going to have to think of a comeback. I do not have one.
Cutie, 40,000 damage on the pip. Era 13,000, just very different support styles coming out from both teams right now. A lot of healing on the side of D69, a lot of crowd control for match point, but in the end, it proved to be the sustain on top.
Absolutely, not a lot of damage for District69, just utilizing their ability to sit on the point and get the kills that matter. Match point went off. We had champions and players like Dozups and Cassie just go wild in the backline. Stolzy dropped massive damage on Charlene as well. But ultimately, again, you can deal out all this poke, you can dish out all of this damage, but if you don't find the kills that matter, it's all over anyway. Paladins is an objective game.
So as we head on over to the schedule here to kind of summarize what has happened here. Like we mentioned, important to note, neither team knocked out from this series, just seeding secured. D69 flawless through the group, 3-0 match point, nearly there, 2-1. QG found a win over the Brazilians Black Dragon, who sit at the bottom of the tank there, unable to find a win.
And otherwise, we can see the group play, how it went. A lot of sweeps across the board. The only contest is set today. This final one right at the bottom of your screen between Matchpoint and District69, setting the scene for how the semi-finals will go. But we have our first two semi-finalists. We're still missing another two. And well, we'll find out about those tomorrow for Group B's group play as well.
That is correct. As you can see, the header reigns true tomorrow. Team Eager versus Team Abyss will be the first matchup of the day. A very tight group. I think this is going to be, you know, dare I say, even closer than what we saw today. Even more fireworks coming out. Abyss, a big question mark. I'm really interested to see if they can crown themselves, live up to the height of kind of the top dogs of the international scene outside of NA and EU.
But following on, Abyss will again face another international team hailing from Latin America, Nocturnes Gaming, for match number 2. And then we see the first of Burrito Esports, the team that since DreamHack has not dropped a single set of online play, and they will be playing a doubleheader in match 3 and match 4, coming through with match 4 versus Abyss, where again the Oceanic team can test their mettle against one of the best teams in the world based on their online performance.
Absolutely. Burrito going to be playing against Abyss. Eager will take on Nocturnes Gaming and then gear up for the title fight of the day, Burrito versus Eager. And a lot can be assumed from what has transpired here today. Matchpoint, a team very dominant over Team Eager throughout the online stages and qualification process. Burrito, a team very dominant over District69 during the online qualifications. And if history is going to tell us anything, it's that if Burrito can beat D69, or if D69 can take Matchpoint, Matchpoint's been cleaning up Eager. Burrito should have a nice and easy win.
But that's not all that comes into play. We did see Burrito on their old team of Torpedo, 2 different members, choke at LAN during the DreamHack Summer Founders Tournament. They do have a different roster now, playing with 1 sub. Unfortunately, Sun Commander able to make it here, so they do have Bonka in as well, and maybe that'll add an extra degree of stability, or maybe it will be a little bit more weight on one side and upset the scales of fate. Speculation
aside, one thing is all but true today. Go ahead and get your Twitch account linked to your Hi-Rez account at hirezstudios.com/link. That is for getting rewards, just for being in chat, just to thank you here. That's the last time we're going to remind you to get it done today. This is a 4-day event. You want to get in early. You want to have as many chances as possible. Stack the odds ever in your favor.
Also available to you in-game is the Hi-Rez Expo 2017 digital loot pack containing 3 skins. Limited for Victor and Fernando, exclusive for Ying, the convention skin. We've got some MVP poses for Victor and Fernando as well, and some sprays themed around the entire event, including one of the trophy. And if you haven't seen pictures of that yet, I would definitely try and check them out on Twitter. I'm sure that some Paladins devs and the Paladins account has been tweeting out some images of those as well. It looks absolutely gorgeous. That does bring, however, day one of Hi-Rez Expo 2017 to a close. We've seen the entirety of Group A. We'll be back tomorrow with Group B. My name has been Vox, and we'll be back tomorrow opening things up with Hi-Rez Pretty Hair.
Absolutely, that does it for us on the Expo stage, but Hi-Rez TV is still broadcasting some Xbox semifinals over on the main stage, so make sure if you're watching here, go finish up the day watching over there. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow.